Space Commander. 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 Space Commander.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It is officially the 1st of December. 1st of December. Oh, I hope not. I cannot go through December again. December is done. It's gone. It's in the rearview mirror. It is the 1st of January, just about everywhere in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Space Commander, good to see you, old friend.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We've got a few people in the chat already. Classified came in nice and early at just after noon with a heck yeah, so they were excited. We got Master Versal Toy Hunter saying, yeah, already there, sir. I'll be listening in my bed chambers as it will be past my bedtime here in Eternia. As it were. Yes, relax. Hey, gents, it's Adam from GoFigure. How are you? TJC, I think you were the first person to comment, actually, but that first comment has since evaporated into last year, probably. But it's good to see you.
TJC is my spirit animal.
That's right. You guys are local to each other, right?
That's right, yeah.
Largo's Lair, new channel, Largo's Lair. Definitely go check it out. I've caught a few of his videos. He's only got a few on there now. 6 a.m. here, but I couldn't miss this. Well, thanks, buddy. Glad to see you.
You see, now I feel guilty. There are people getting up early to watch a middle-aged guy who's kind of hungover from the night before.
Well, mate, I'm going to try and catch up. I've got some gin in my Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship mug. I'm going to try and catch up as best I can. Pains is here. I'm awake. Happy New Year, all. Good to see you, Pains. I see Pains everywhere. And as I get older, I have pains everywhere. Phil, Treasures for Treasure. Evening, team. Happy New Year. Woohoo! Oh, yeah, buddy. Gazz is here with a thumb kiss. Good to see you, my good friend. We got to watch Megaforce recently the other day. I thought I'd keep this handy. It was a little watch along we did just with the buddies. It was good fun. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm driving to work. This is a beauty way to enjoy the commute. All right. Well, he's off to church, I suppose, on a Sunday. Say hi to the Lord from all of us. Space Commander's probably closer than you, though, being up in the heavens himself. Space Commander, don't let me dribble on anymore. Tell me about this wonderful experience that you had.
The night I was abducted by aliens. Oh no, the other thing.
Not the probing. Let me probe a little bit further into your experience recently meeting face to face this legend right here.
It makes me look really tall, but it's bless him, he's a little fella. Yes, so just before Christmas, well, I was talking to Zazel just before we started, because as far as I'm concerned, it still is Christmas. So I've got my Christmas shirt on, Father Christmas.
Yep.
Batman, and my number one homeboy, Robin,
boy wonder. He's been a good boy.
Yeah. So just before Christmas, Mrs. Space Commander and I hopped in the Triad Fighter and fled up to Colville. Go figure.
You must have upgraded to Commodore 64.
Oh yeah, well that's one of my Christmas presents. Mrs. Space Commander, bless her, she really pulled through and got me some equipment to help with our incoming transmissions. So thank you very much,
Mrs. Hi to Mrs. Space Commander from me and the rest of us.
So we flew up to Colville, which is where the Palitoy factory, the building is still there, but where the Palitoy factory was back in the way back when. And there was this exhibition there. I can't remember if it was on
Mike
one of the
Potter's
members.
here.
Hey, Mark. I
Hey,
hope you're
Mark.
feeling better, mate.
Happy New Year, Mark. If you want to join us, I can send you the link, mate. No pressure, but do let me know. Send me a message if you want to join us, and I'll send you the link. No pressure at all. But it's good to see you.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling better, Mark.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so there's this exhibition, and I think we might have talked about it on the members stream that we did earlier.
Yep.
But Bob Brechin was there, and he came around and met everyone, and he gave this fantastic talk on about the history of the company and how Action Force evolved from Action Man.
Yeah,
and went into more detail about how Palitoy was phased out and the Hasbro toys came in, and it was great. It's funny actually because I think I might be wrong here, but I think the previous episode of Incoming Transmission we did was the one with Bob on it.
It was,
and
yes.
It was going to be kind of interesting to talk about what we spoke to Bob about on that show. But since then, I've met him in person, so there's more to discuss. But yeah, a lot of things that we, as fans, had heard or read about, and Bob was able to say, "Oh, well, that's what happened, but not quite in the way it actually happened. This is what really happened.
Right.
These are the people involved." And it was great to kind of uncover the truth of a lot of this. A lot of this like corporate business that went on when we were kids back in the 80s. Of course, there was no internet. We had no idea what was going on. All we knew is that the toys in the toy shop were different all of a sudden. Here's Mark again.
Yeah, he's still not feeling great. We'll catch up soon, though, Mark. We were going to catch up before the New Year's to talk about the new Sergeant Slaughter action figure, but he's a bit poorly at the moment, so get well soon, and we'll catch up when you are feeling up to it, buddy. But yeah, we're thinking of you.
Get well soon, Sergeant Slammer.
That's right.
I'm very interested in getting the sort of story of Action Force out into the world because of again, it's no one's fault. There was no information at the time, but out in the world, outside of the UK, there's a lot of sort of not like malicious misinformation, but like a misunderstanding of what happened. And,
Right.
A lot of people are under the impression that somehow, this British company Upstart came along and took G.I. Joe over and changed all the names and everything. That's not what happened at all. And, it's great to be able to talk to someone who was there at the time and has like the inside track on what happened.
Well, it looks like you both look so joyous to be there. And if I'm looking correctly, I can see you're actually carrying an Action Man backpack.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of I kind of forgot that I had that, and
Right.
I was looking for something to put because it's quite a way away from the space station, so I was looking for an overnight bag to put a few choice items in, and I went into my nerdy room down on the docking ring, and I found that. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect." Got my Action Man bag, TJC. That's right, dedication. So yeah, I had my backpack there. I had some figures in, which just to compare between the ones I had and the ones that are the ones that were in production.
So did anyone think you were shoveling figures into your backpack as opposed to bringing them out to show?
They had such cool stuff there, man.
Was it tempting?
You know how hard it is to get a RoboSkull, the Mark 1 RoboSkull.
Right. It was right there. It was right
there. They had
there.
3.
Oh,
they had
right.
3. And one of them was like one of the prototypes. I know there were a couple of different prototypes, but one of the RoboSkulls they had there was a prototype that was used at the toy fair, before the actual production model came out.
Right.
And
like finally,
again, very grateful to Mrs. Space Commander for remembering to take lots of pictures I was too excited. I was, but she was trying to snap everything. But you know how it is. You get home from something like that, or you get home from your holiday or whatever, and you're looking through your pictures, and you think, "Oh, darn it all! Why didn't I get a picture of that?" And I completely missed.
Sorry, Space Commander. Hang on a second. Sorry. We got Mr. Bob Brechin himself is in the house. Half of his head. Hello, Bob. Mr. Brechin. Can you hear us? We can't hear you. You seem to be muted. Hello, hello. There he is. Can you hear us okay? He's got your previous technology, Space Commander.
He's using the old setup.
Yeah, yeah. How are you, Bob? I can't hear you. What if I unmute you? Are you there? Come in, come in. Well, while Bob's figuring out his microphone, we can continue on with the pictures. There we are. The man himself.
Yeah, it looks like I'm trying to hold him at bay because my left arm is outstretched, but that's because I was actually leaning on the glass cabinet behind us. So
right,
I'm not trying to shove him away, honestly.
Which one of you is the famous one?
Not me. Not me.
Oh, he's popped out. Well, we had Bob for a little while there. It was good to see you, Bob. Mr. Brechin.
Always welcome, even for a silent visit.
Well, that's right. That's what we call a cameo.
That's right. But yeah, 3 robo skulls, and I didn't manage to nick one of them. So
I did see one behind Mr. Brechin there in this photo. Yeah. So we'll count along as we go. But that's a 90s modern-ish Action Man backpack, right?
Yes.
Action Man.
It's the closest thing. It's like the figures that Bob kindly signed for me.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you. Hello.
I'm not feeling too well. I got COVID.
So I'm sorry to hear that, mate.
Yeah, so I'm not going to stay long. I just wish you Happy New Year and everything.
Well, Happy New Year to you too, Mr. Brechin. I'll move you up a little higher so you don't get covered. But we've got some people saying hi here in the chat to you. Greetings to you, Bob, sir. The blown minds to be able to see you. But we're sorry to hear that you have COVID. Has it hit you hard?
I think I'm getting over it now, but I'm still coughing a bit and spluttering and, you know.
Well, I wonder, Happy New Year from TJC saying Happy New Year, Mr. Brechin. I hope you had a good Christmas too, Mr. Brechin.
No, not really. I got this a week before Christmas.
Oh, no. Is that right? Did you catch it at the 40th anniversary of Palitoy Action Force?
No, I think we caught it somewhere else.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time to come in and see us. You're getting a get well soon from Jim Largo. But we appreciate that you've come in under the weather to say hi. Stick around for as long as you can or as long as you want. Feel free to bounce whenever you need to, though. No pressure to stick around too long. But yeah, we are sorry to hear that you are unwell. But while we've got you then, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown, Mr. Brechin, on your experience of that, and then we'll go on to the pictures. Let's hear your experience from your 40th anniversary.
Yeah, it went quite well. I think it was nice to see Space Commander turn up, and the other guy, what was his name?
Black Major turned up.
For this little battle.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It was well received. I think the show was well received. Yeah, and we were pleased with it.
So it went for a few days, right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Was it really that long?
Yeah.
Were you there every day of that?
good part of it. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
I gave a talk on 2 Saturdays. It went from Saturday to Saturday, and the first and last Saturday I gave a talk, and then the middle Saturday we took a group round the factory. Took a walk.
Oh, that's great.
Took a walk through the town and had a little bit of a wander around the factory, explaining where things were, how things worked there and everything like that. Yeah, it went well.
Well, it looks like Spaceman had a good time. We're going to go through some of his photos in a moment just to have a look through. But we couldn't help but start with this joyous photo.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?
The Space Commander says that he's not really that tall, but you're possibly as tall as I am, which isn't very tall. I didn't realize.
I'm quite short, really. I'm shrinking as well, I think.
Maybe that's my age.
You shrink. I try to get up into the loft, and when I first put this door in, I could open it quite easily, but now I have to stand on tiptoe.
Right. We don't have to duck once you're in the loft now, though, do you?
No. Well, it's quite a big loft. You didn't have to duck, anyway. But I got all my stuff up there, and I've got to find a figure tomorrow to send out to people, or to one person who's going to win.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you've seen that on one of the websites.
No, I haven't caught. Do you know what that is, Space Commander?
No, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
What site is it? I can't remember the name, but there's so many different names. Action Force Figures Palitoy or something. It's Darren's site. Darren Jeffrey.
I'll start googling it right now.
Right,
Yeah.
Space
Commander's going to get in on that competition.
If you want to get involved, you have to be on after 5 o'clock.
All right. Well, we'll go through some of these photos with Space Commander then.
Yeah, I was kind of worried because, of course, I'm showing up in full uniform, and I didn't want to scare Mr. Brechin off.
Yeah.
The thing is, I have to remember that this was Bob's day job 40 years ago.
Right.
And I'm thinking, before I joined Space Force, I worked for an engineering company, and how would it be if 40 years from now some plonker came up to me all dressed up, wanting to talk about fixings and fittings that I worked on 40 years ago, So I try not to be too overpowering, But yeah, it was a great day.
So did you recognize Space Commander from our previous interview talk, Mr. Brechin?
Not immediately, no.
You probably meet a lot of Space Commanders in your travels.
Well, yeah. When he introduced himself, then I realised who it was.
Right.
It was funny when I mentioned.
Sorry,
when I mentioned you, Zazel, I said, the Australian guy with the big beard, and Bob went, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
I've trimmed it a little.
I couldn't remember what we'd done now.
Well, one of my favorite quotes from when we caught up last time, Mr. Brechin, was I asked you if it was weird talking to grown men about action figures, and you said yes, it is.
That's it,
I was like, yeah.
It's a bit.
I agree.
It's a bit weird for me as well.
So we'll go through these photos. Now, they're not in any particular order, unfortunately, Space Commander, because of the way my lame computer works. It just shuffles it. So the next one that we've got is this old thing here.
There he is.
Now, he's going to miss. He's going to miss for sure because you've ducked that. But you look like you've got a phaser from Star Trek.
That's right.
Was that set to stun or...
I know for Black Major, I'm going to vaporize him.
Well, with the smile that he's got on his face, it looks like you've got it set for fun.
No, actually,
that joke didn't work. All right, moving on.
No, he was a great guy, really. Yeah, he was lots of fun.
Oh, good.
And he's got a very professional-looking costume. I think he spent a lot of time and money on it. Says me in my baggy gear.
I don't know. Yours is just as good, mate. I think yours is just as good. So, did we catch his name, or is he just Black Major?
He did tell me, but I confess I forgot. I drank a lot of alcohol last night.
All right, moving on. It was great. It was great to see. Yeah, Phaser set to fun. I'm not sure if I froze when I said that comment, but that was a funny line. All right. Anyway, so it looks like it was nice. It was nice to see that you weren't the only one in. I mean, you're not in character. You're just dressed up. This guy's obviously in character. Needs to be comfortable in space. See, he gets it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're completely right.
This is the entrance point.
Yep. Time to hit the diet in the new year.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, mate. All right. What are we looking at? Oh, Brendan Haley is here. How are you, good sir? Fellow
Hello,
Aussie, Brendan Haley. Good to see you. Gazz is using the new Space Commander emojis that I've got now for members to use.
Say what?
Yeah. You can't see it here, but in the chat, it's all Space Commander logos.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, I think.
So is this the all comparison, is it?
Yes. This is my childhood Space Commander figure. And I'm just kind of comparing it to the standard one, because my one was the German one.
Oh, right, yes.
Even though
what was the Rob Vegas, how are you, buddy? What was the difference between the German one, other than the fact that one didn't have a hat?
It was the logo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you did a close-up so we could see it. Yeah. That's it's a little bit far out, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's weird because I've never been to Germany. I'm sure it's a lovely place, but I've never been there. And my local toy shop.
From Germany.
That's right, yeah. My local toy shop is in Suffolk when I was a kid, and I'd always wanted Space Commander and never been able to find him. And then towards the end, when Action Force, well, the Palitoy version of Action Force was being phased out, he just appeared on a peg one day.
Bob's just started watching TV.
I'm watching the New Year concert from Vienna.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
I'm going to leave you guys now because I'm not feeling too good, you know.
All right, Mr. Brechin.
I just popped in to say hello and wish you all happy 2023.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Brechin. It was an honor to meet you again. Thank you for sharing your stories from the 40th anniversary. I hope you feel better soon. I hope to catch up soon as well.
Yeah, cheers, then. All the best. Bye.
You too, buddy.
Thank you. What a nice guy.
What a great guy. Yeah. Isn't he great? I like that he just started watching TV. I was like,
I'm out.
What a good guy. Greetings to all. Partner work. Oh, man, that sucks. His partner worked on the 31st and then again till 10 p.m. tonight. So stay until she gets home, sell New Year drinks and all that. Okay, we'll say Happy New Year to your wife as well, buddy. Cheers.
Remember to drink plenty of water.
Right, yeah.
My mistake.
So I like that you're comparing your two here, but you haven't brought it close enough to make any real difference.
Not in this shot. There is another shot where we've got a close up.
Well, I'll stop giving you a hard time here then, and we'll move on. It's great to see them all together like that. Does that represent all of Space Force there?
I think so, actually. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. If I'd only waited a little moment, we would have seen. All right. Sorry for the hard time. Now, yours didn't come with a hat.
No, not at the time. I got a hat off eBay.
So what's the symbol on his chest?
It's WATT, Weltraum Anti-Terror Team. In Germany, the Action Force was referred to as the Anti-Terror Team. Z-Force specifically were Anti-Terror Team. And Weltraum means space. I don't know if I'm saying that. Gazz, you'll have to correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Someone tell Rebecca Kwan it's not a hate crime if to speak an unfamiliar word and get it wrong, okay? But yeah, so as kids, you know, just found this on the peg, and as I say, I think it was one of the sort of last rollouts of the Palitoy figures, because there was on the peg as well as the Hasbro figures. A lot of the Palitoy ones were there, sometimes with the wrong card, sometimes with the wrong accessories, sometimes with no accessories. But I didn't care. I was like, at last, Space Commander. So I bought him. And my brothers and I, again, we were just little kids at the time. There was no internet, so we had no idea what this meant. And it looks to us very, very much like the SAS Force logo. They have a yellow dagger with SAS through the middle.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought maybe this was because we could tell that some of the figures that were being sold off at a lower price, there were like little things wrong with them. Like I said, the card backs and things like that. Little did we know that they would be valuable in the future. You know?
Right.
But so we figured, well, some of these figures, they've got things wrong with them. So we thought maybe this was a Space Commander figure, which had accidentally fallen in with the SAS figures and had been stamped with an SAS logo. But then we're looking at it and we're thinking, well, it's the wrong color for SAS. And the lettering, it was really small. So we weren't quite sure what it said, but we could tell that wasn't an S at the beginning. It was more like a W.
Yeah.
So for a long time, it was a mystery what it actually meant. And it wasn't until many years later, you know, the advent of the internet and getting hold of information, that I realized this figure had been intended for Germany, even though it ended up being sold in the UK.
Those other guys look pretty cool too, like the spaceman with the blue visor over his face. Oh, he looks real cool.
Yeah, that's Kiwi. He's he's got a robotic hand. He lost his hand in a space accident. I think his hand was exposed to the vacuum of space and got frozen and had to be removed. Right. But not one to quit on the job. He simply had a mechanical hand fitted and got back to work.
Is he from New Zealand?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. See, international heroes.
There you go, Phil. You got representation.
There you go, mate.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Looks like he could work on the USS Enterprise.
I think he probably did work on it.
Yeah, right.
In the cassette tape stories, the mechanical hand is actually a plot point in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, Baron Ironblood's Revenge.
Phil needs him. He needs one in hand. All right, Phil. That's your next challenge, to get a Kiwi from is it Z Force, the Space Force?
No, Space Force is just called Space Force.
Okay, and Z Force is its own thing. Is Z Force the green ones?
That's right. They're like the standard military. I think Bob referred to them as the Heavy Brigade. Okay.
I am trying to retain all this information, but I am old, and that was a whole year ago.
That's fair enough, mate. There's been several sleeps and several drinks since then.
That's right. Brendan says, I'll hand it to you. That's a nice figure. That is, I love the logo. So as cool as the German version is, and that is a cool logo on the German version, there's something about that lightning bolt that just looks right.
Thank you, Magnificent Kaboom.
Yes, absolutely. Magnificent Kaboom did do a lot of the stylized images of Space Commander's logo. So thanks for that. Kiwis in space. All right, let's move on. That's it's hard to move on from this image though, because they look so great.
Yeah, I was kind of I know, you know, when all is said and done, they're just bits of plastic. But as collectors, and especially ones who've been collecting since childhood, you kind of, you know, you kind of gift them with a personality of their own, and so it felt kind of cool to have these two guys meet.
That is great. Did you feel emotional at the time?
Well, I didn't cry, if that's what you mean.
Fair enough. Now look at that. This guy looks familiar. Driving in the SAS Jeep. That's the SAS Action Force version of the Vamp, right?
That's right. Yeah, and as we were previously talking about the German logo, you can see the SAS Force logo on the bonnet of the Jeep there. If this was the American Vamp, it would be the hood of the Jeep, but this is a British one, so it's the bonnet.
That's right.
But yeah, you can see the lettering there.
Yes.
And the dagger-shaped logo. So as kids, we were kind of confused, but it all makes sense now. So this chap here may look a lot like Snake Eyes.
It looks exactly like Snake Eyes.
I think this one has a little bit more grey on him than Snake Eyes. I might be wrong about that.
No, you're absolutely right. It looks like he's had some dust thrown in his face.
Yeah.
Love that Jeep with Stalker. Yeah. So it's interesting that they gave him the name Stalker. I guess you could imagine that Stalker is in the Snake Eyes gear, but obviously it's better to just have them as their own thing rather than imprint G.I. Joe onto them, right?
Yeah. Because
the Panther, is that what it is?
Sorry?
He says, I love my Panther. So Panther's either the name of the Jeep or he's just got a really cool pet.
Yes, the Jeep, yeah. That is the character.
And the stickers add to it too, don't they? Because that's different. The back console thing, I don't know how much use that would be having it behind your head, but it does look pretty cool.
I think the weapons are, because of the SAS Force, the color scheme was black and yellow, so I think that all the yellow sort of additions to the vehicle, I think they're different from the American version as well. I think. Okay. But yeah,
I don't think the American version has this sticker on it. It definitely doesn't have the SAS sticker on it. That I know. That I do know.
This particular Stalker was called Ragnar Ragnarsson. He was a Scandinavian fellow. But
so these guys were the true international heroes before G.I. Joe was really international heroes.
Yeah. So, for example,
well, let me make you solo.
So when it always throws me off when you do that. When they then brought over the G.I. Joe characters,
the bendy figures.
Before, yeah, so funny. Bob called them bendy figures after he heard us talking about it. How cool is that? Yeah. So when the bendy figures came over, there was one called Stalker.
Yep.
And he is obviously not a Scandinavian fellow. But I think by sheer fluke, I think that was the only time the names clashed. They could have had a serious problem with that, with like duplicated names for different characters when they started to bring over the American figures. But it was just the one, and the characters were so different. This Stalker, the SAS Stalker, compared to the other Stalker, it didn't really cause a problem. So I think they got lucky that time.
Yep. So there's a yellow roll cage version as well.
Yes. They did some sort of what do they call them? Rolling changes, where things are changed during production.
Yeah, he does look cool. I guess they had a little bit more of a budget to add a splash of paint to the face. Moving on. Wait, who's the guy next to him, first of all, before I do move on? Because he looks cool too.
That is the SAS Trooper. He's meant to be an army builder kind of character. He's so hard to find. It's like
it's because everyone's army building them.
Yeah, it's like if a character's an army builder, make hundreds of them, make thousands. But,
make a 5-pack
really
at least.
Hard to find.
Now this guy looks familiar. I can see there's a little bit more detail on his tampo there.
Yes, I particularly asked Mrs. Space Commander if she would mind taking a shot of this one because of the mystery of the logo on Ground Assault's helmet there, his bang hat. The one I sent you for the special project is a bit scuffed up, and we couldn't quite make out the logo. I knew it was meant to be a bird. I think it's like an eagle or it's a bird of prey. And a lot of these figures turn up scuffed, and it ends up looking a bit like the Kellogg's Cornflakes logo. But on this one, you can see quite clearly it's it's a profile of the bird of prey's head. It's got a beak. It's got a ruffle of feathers around the neck. I think it might even have an eye. But yeah, so now we can finally see what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, it looks good. Is that supposed to be right? I can't tell because I'm old, but is that supposed to be writing or just detail on the top?
Yeah, it's just detail. It's just the side of the bird.
Yeah.
Your eyes aren't completely gone.
Oh, good. Look at this happy chap pulling out another one of his toys and comparing it to because this is your custom one, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. What spectacular teeth I have! I'm so happy with my teeth.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but the British are known for awful teeth, right? And I think yours are just fine, mate.
Thank you very much. I take a lot of pride in my teeth.
Yeah, excellent. I know that's a really nasty stereotype I just mentioned there, but I mean it with all good fun and humor, all the fun and humor of a Brit.
We didn't know anything about. We didn't know that the Hollywood movies were saying this about us until the Austin Powers films came out, and it's like, what are these?
Oh,
teeth
they really overdid it.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, the Americans hate your teeth. What? Look at my teeth; they're fantastic. Don't hate my teeth. Love my teeth.
A British man bit an American man one day, and they went, "Nah, this is it. We're gonna from now on. Their teeth are awful." All right, moving on. So you're comparing your custom parachute, what was that, paratrooper?
That's right. Yeah,
to the official picture of the paratrooper.
Yeah, this is a blow up of the one of the early catalogs.
Right.
Excuse me, that was given out in the toy trade.
Did you catch your cough from Bob Brechin?
Sorry, mate.
Did you catch your cough from Bob Brechin just now?
Oh, great. No, I hope he didn't catch it from me. I feel so guilty. But yeah, so the catalog's got some prototypes in it. You'll see the AF7 there is slightly different to the version that was actually released. Excuse me. And some of the figures were actually sort of Star Wars figures because Palitoy
Thanks
had
for
the
stopping
license.
by, buddy. Brendan's heading off.
Brendan.
Say hi to the wife for us.
Yeah, because Palitoy had the license to do the Star Wars figures in the UK. They had plenty of Star Wars figures to hand, and they actually took the Bespin Luke and modified it into a prototype paratrooper. The actual production paratrooper is quite different. But me and my buddy of mine, Mark, he and I were looking at these images and thinking, you know what, I think we could do this, and do it we did. And there he is.
And do it we did. And done.
Done. Yeah.
All right, what are we looking at here? Look at Desert Rat. He is having a good time.
He's awesome. He looks like he's playing basketball or something.
Yeah.
These are actually they look like production run figures, but these are actually prototypes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing to see the detail in them and to see that detail got transferred to the actual production figures. Yeah,
because you don't see that very often.
Yeah. This what I'm holding here in my Space Force gloved hand. This is another custom. This one's actually by a guy on eBay called WD40 for the soul. So it's WD40 underscore WD40 underscore for the soul, all one word. Nice guy. He's often got stuff for sale. And what we have here is one of the prototypes in the cabinet there next to Desert Rat is one of the prototypes for the Arctic Assault character or Mountain and Arctic character. One of the prototypes in the catalogue we were just talking about was actually the Han Solo Hoth figure, but slightly modified and painted white.
Okay.
This one was the one that they actually made from the ground up, as opposed to modifying an existing figure. This is the one that they made from the ground up, and I'm comparing WD-40's version of it to the original, and he got it really, really close. The gloves are a different color, and the peak of the hat's different, but he got it really close. He did a fantastic job.
Yes, I agree.
The thing I find most fascinating about this is the actual version that was released as a production figure has the helmeted head of the guy next to the orange frogman. He has that
Right.
head. This head
Okay.
was not used. This head was not used for this figure. This head ended up being the Z-Force infantryman's head. So it was a head designed for a completely different character, and it ends up being this guy.
We'll just say goodbye quickly to Master Versal Toy Hunter. Best be heading off to bed there myself. It's past 1:38 a.m. here in Eternia. Yeah, it's been a great stream so far. Thanks, mate. And watch the rest there tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you watching, matey. I'll see you when I see you.
He's right. I was chasing skull pirates around the orbit of Eternia just last week.
Perfect.
Busy time up in space. Busy time.
No,
Yeah, this guy. The Z-Force.
Okay, I'm going to solo you.
Okay. Here we go. Where's that camera? Where's that tricky camera?
Oh, what a handsome man that is.
So this head was not designed for this figure at all. This head was originally for the snow guy, but they ended up putting it on this chap instead, which is, I think that's fascinating, because this character,
I do, yeah.
This really was the army builder of the Palitoy range.
All right, move on to the next one. No, I already showed that one. Did I put that in twice? No, you just got a different look this time. You're not quite as impressed here. As I've heard.
I've
like,
noticed,
do I like this? And you're like, yes, I do.
I've noticed when people put a camera at me, I kind of naturally clench my jaw, and I need to stop doing that, because when you do that, it puffs your chin out and you look like George Lucas. As cool as George Lucas is, I don't want to end up with that big chin. You have to watch out for that clenched jaw, chaps. You know, be mindful when someone's taking your picture.
That's right. You ladies too. For a different
reason.
All right, moving on.
Ladies always look good in photos.
Oh, what if I do this?
So this is part of the molding process. Yeah, this is part of the molding process.
Okay.
You can see, actually, if you look at the top left, there's pieces there of the original Kraken prototype.
Oh, yes, I can see that.
He's a bit the worse for wear, but you can see how all the pieces were made separately and then pieced together. Excuse me. In the middle of the top, we have Red Wolf, the original production pilot for the Robo Skull.
That's cool.
And our Kiwi, our space engineer, is also at the top there, a prototype of him.
Nice.
And just below those figures, we can see some of the molds they used. And at the bottom, it's an interesting concept, because originally they didn't know what articulation the figures were going to have. They hadn't decided on it. And one of the ideas was, one of the ideas was that the figure would detach at the waist, so you could take his whole lower half off and put on crouching legs, or laying down like a sniper legs, and the top half could come off and you'd put like a different pose on. So that was one of the ideas.
That is cool.
So Action Force could have ended up being very different from what we actually received. Actually, Bob told us this great story. Excuse me. When they were trying to, as we said on previous episodes, Action Force started out as a spin-off of Action Man. It was like directly Action Man. Then when another sort of iteration of leadership came in at the company, they decided to go for a more fantasy-orientated sort of play pattern. And one of the ideas that Bob came up with was, because science fiction was so big at the time, what if the Earth had been invaded by aliens and the humans were living kind of rough in the forests, hiding like Robin Hood? And so he came up with this idea that we had these like futuristic band of merry men, and they were characters like, he showed us these drawings. He had a projector there and showing us these fantastic drawings. There were characters like Sonic Archer, guys like that. I mean, just fantastic. Yeah. I know that, being mostly a fantasy military toy line, a lot of Action Force's biggest fans will be people who like the sort of military thing, but rightly so. It's I think that's important for us to be mindful of. But for a nerd like me, the Sonic Archer, men fighting aliens in the forest, that would have been really cool. Not to besmirch what we did get, because I love what we did get. But all that space
interesting
stuff.
Concept though. Very interesting concept. All right, so what do we got here? Action Force 40, Action Force Legacy, that is non-Palitoy. The new Valaverse Action Force. So there must be a picture that will come across soon that'll show off the Valaverse Action Force, the new Skeletron by Blood for the Baron, Red Shadow Office. Is that supposed to be Officer?
Officer, yeah.
Officer, the whole office for Red Shadow? Nice. Red Shadow Officer by Matt Paul. Mamba Man. What's that?
So the whole office. There's a typist there, a receptionist.
Yeah. Receptionist. I'm sorry, but they're just not in right now. Can I take a message? Sonic Archer. That's a great name for a rock band. I'll say that is actually really. Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, we should form our own, Sergeant Slaughterhouse rock band.
Yeah, called Sonic Archer. The first song will be titled Bendy Figures.
That's right. Even
so there's a Red Shadow from the G.I. Joe Convention, Black Major by G.I. Joe Convention. So there's two different ones. There was the G.I. Joe Convention, and then there was the G.I. Joe Convention.
Yeah,
and then there's
that.
So this is, you know what? We'll just, instead of reading, we'll come back. We'll find this photo soon. I'm sure we'll come back and see this for real. Now that looks like Ken Masters from Street Fighter at the bottom there.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because of I helped you get a couple of those figures for use in the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship, and I was looking at this guy and thinking he looks really familiar. So I think you're right. They've used the Ken figure as the basis for this new character.
Well, at least the head.
The fellow off to the right, I think he's a G.I. Joe Street Fighter as well.
Yeah, that looks like what's his name? Zangief?
Yes.
So is that in the description here then?
Let's have a look. Bottom custom
figures with a custom enemy tank.
Yeah, by Matt Paul. So Matt Paul is Kraken Creations.
Gotcha. AJ's Movie Place. Hello, buddy. Happy New Year. Good to see you.
I keep thinking of Venkman in Ghostbusters 2. Happy New Year. He really doesn't sound sincere when he says it, does he?
No, but does he with anything? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. But these are great.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the basis of the tank is, where it came from. If it was originally a G.I. Joe tank or some other toy brand. But it looks really good. The black and red color scheme works perfectly.
Yeah, I like it. Looks really cool. Moving on. I can see these are some more customs too. I can see the red guy's got the head from Salvo. The G.I. Joe Salvo.
Yeah, I think so.
And then there looks like a ape man or a wolf man. What's going on there?
That's the Mamba Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember him.
These are characters that appeared in the Battle Action Force comic, the sort of comic before the Marvel comic, the Battle Action Force comic, and they had these. It was interesting because it was that the Mamba Men appeared. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong here, but I think they appeared before the whole transition to Cobra.
Okay.
So it's kind of, I don't know if it was some foreshadowing or if it was just a massive coincidence, but they were starting to introduce these snake-like characters before we got Cobra Commander and the other snake-themed characters coming into the story.
That's cool.
Got
nice custom tank in the background there.
Yeah, that's the G.I. Joe tank, isn't it?
Yeah. Armadillo.
Yeah.
The yellow and black look great. So the three in the middle are from the unreleased Action Force team ?
The characters are, yes. The figures are customs done in the G.I. Joe style. The Special Weapons Force is what the team was called. There was a character on the team called Lightning and one called Fixer, and the guy in the middle is Boffin. And some people kind of joke that he's based on Bob Brechin, which I can see that.
I can see that.
Yeah, the original figures, had they been released, they would have been. Hang on
a second.
Of thing. 5 points of articulation, 3 3/4 inches tall.
Yeah.
Different to the G.I. Joe ones. So we're spinning one of the bendy figures.
Oh, he looks cool. Who's that?
Man.
Action Man, the greatest hero of them all.
Putting action back into the force. So yeah, the figures we saw just now, the Special Weapons Force figures there, are customs made in this style. But had they been released back in the 80s, when they were originally planned for release, they would have been this style.
Ooh.
But I think both work really cool together.
Yeah, I think so. Moving on. Here we are. Desert Rat. This is one signed especially for Bob Brechin from Tony Roberts, who is the current Desert Rat for Action Force, Valorverse Action Force. Real life Tony Roberts from Analog Toys.
Yeah, I think it was cool because obviously he's down there in Oz with you guys.
Yeah.
So he couldn't make it to the exhibition, but he sent his avatar in his place.
Yeah. That is a very good representation. Bobby Vala did an exceptional job with that action figure. There's a lot of minute details in there that took a lot of. There's a labor of love, I reckon. That figure, a lot of respect and dedication went into making that one to make it just right.
Yeah,
and I hope one day to have it in my hands when it eventually gets here.
Cool. When Tony was still serving in the military, he had customized his gun.
Right. Yes.
Apparently, Bobby Vala kept asking him questions about how he'd modified his gun, and Tony just thought he was, gun enthusiast.
Yeah.
Then when the toy came out, he could see why he'd been asking. The toy is modified. Well, it's made to look modified in the same way that Tony's gun was in real life. That's some clever detail there.
Also, so apparently TJC had that very comic, or has that very comic. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Looks like Baroness is that character. Is that Baroness, or is that someone who just looks remarkably like Baroness? Is that Slaughter's daughter?
That is Kelly Slaughter, yeah.
I thought it was.
That's the Baroness. Death to the Red Shadows, she's yelling. So this is when Baron Ironblood became Cobra Commander, and he betrayed the Red Shadows and tried to wipe them out. But
Jim
then
Largo
they
says
respawned.
Sorry, Valorverse Desert Rat is one of the best figures of 2022. I'll let you know when I get mine. So sorry, Space Ben, you were saying she's wiping out the Red Shadows.
That's right. And they regrouped under the command of Black Major, who had previously been Baron Ironblood's right-hand man. He was now in charge of the Red Shadows, trying to find out what had happened to Baron Ironblood. Why has he changed?
So it says here, stop the enemy competition. What does that mean?
Oh, like that's one of the store displays. Happy
New Year.
Sure. Oh, JLS
Comics Great channel. Check him out.
Yeah, I'm
not
sure what the competition was.
It sounds like he's saying, stop the enemy competition. We're the only enemy that you need. There is no competition.
Who needs Cobra?
Who needs Cobra?
Competition for your enemy.
This is all we need. So is this another custom of the Mamba, or was this, because some of these look like modern, rarely fairly new figures from the convention. I know some of them might
That's
be.
right. These are all bendy figures.
Happy New Hangovers.
Oh, you don't know how
Trevor, what do you know? What have you heard? Who told you? Space Commander is suffering.
So these are bendy figures based on characters that were either previously released as 5 POA figures back in the way back when, or figures that didn't come out back then but might have done. So we see here a Red Shadows officer, for example, and they actually did. Bob has got a prototype for one that they made back in the 80s that wasn't released. So someone has cleverly taken that design and taken that as their inspiration and created a bendy figure,
Right.
G.I. Joe style, Red Shadow's officer. You know, some of these customizers, they're ingenious. The things they're able to do. Doing stellar job. Thank you, Treasures for Trigger. I'm soldiering on. Self-inflicted.
That baff in the back looks great too. Yeah, so baff now in collecting terms is Build-A-Figure. I was like, wait, there's a Build-A-Figure?
Battle Action Force.
Battle Action Force. Yeah, but these all look great. Moving on to the next one. Now, this is an interesting picture. Now, they've got to be custom, surely, because I'm seeing some Star Wars here. And can I just say, it works.
Yeah, it does. That's actually a Muton body, which, as we've discussed previously, that was a deep sea diver. So
Did I call it mutton?
Yeah, mutton. That's right. so giving him the features of an octopus, that kind of works.
It really does. Like it. I think that looks amazing.
Yeah, that could have. I don't know how they got on for licensing it from Star Wars, but because Palitoy had the Star Wars license at the time, you see sometimes the Action Force figures are carded with Star Wars weapons. Like if they hadn't got enough Uzis, for example, they would throw in like a Mauser blaster or something like that. So this is something they could have done, if they'd been allowed to.
I imagine George Lucas would have put a big footprint on that saying no, but it does, like, it looks appropriate. And the good thing about Action Force and Star Wars is that they're both the same articulation, the 5 POA.
Yeah.
And so therefore they sort of do blend very well together. And now that they're bringing out the what do they call those ones now that are 5 POA? The
retro, is it retro collection?
No, the other thing. What are those? What are they called? Whatever they are, the new stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I got the Andre the Giant one recently. What are they called? What are they called? I don't collect them enough to know. But yeah, they look cool too.
I think the Baron Ironblood back there, I think the body is an attack commander. Not sure.
It looks great.
Hard to tell from this angle, but yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, that would have done my head in. Yes, the reaction figures. Thank you.
Oh, now I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So the current action figures that you can get now that are 5 POA.
I love those reaction figures. I
knew you would. I held off for a while. So I saw Andre the Giant in a local store. It was way too much for the local store. And I was like, oh, man. Oh, hello there.
Hello there.
Blue Harvest Toys. Good to see you, buddy. Appropriate that you said hello there. You're Blue Harvest, and we're looking at some Star Wars custom Action Force figures. But yeah, I thought they were too expensive, but I actually found them very cheap on eBay, and I picked up the 2 variants of Andre the Giant because I was like, you know what, this is fine. He wasn't that articulated anyway, so he works just fine. But we'll move on. But these look absolutely stunning. Whoever did these, I should go back and have a look who customized these, but these are great. Did you want me to go back to the list?
You can do, mate.
I just feel like I should call out who did that because they look really cool. Custom figures by David Gillis, maybe?
Let's have a look.
I think that must be them.
Yeah.
Well, all of these people that we're looking at, so we've got the Valaverse, we've got Blood for the Baron, we've got Kraken Creations, Matt Paul, we've got the G.I. Joe convention stuff, more from Matt Paul and David Gillis. They are responsible for all of these customs that we've been looking at. So bravo to everybody. Obviously, Valaverse is not a custom figure, but for the customizers, well done. And well done to Valaverse for a very superb modern era. Oh, we've still got more to go. Look at these guys.
Yeah, David Gillis and Matt Paul, Kraken Creations, they were actually there and did a talk with all us nerds. Bob got up first and sort of did the history of Palitoy and Action Force, and then they got up and talked about their custom work. And yeah, they're really creative and imaginative. Maybe Palitoy should have hired those guys back in the day.
Blue Harvest Toys filmed this exhibition. Is it on your channel? Blue Harvest Toys, is your did you film it and upload it? Because I'll add a link so that people can go and check it out afterwards.
Yeah, that would be excellent.
Okay, Mark else. Okay, excellent. Okay, thanks for letting us know, buddy. Yeah, they did an amazing job. Everyone did an amazing job. Yeah, these guys look great too.
I would like to see a video of the exhibition. I know that Jim Marshall, the Baron, he's doing there we go. That's right. Yes, TJC is on the money there. We'll be shooting a video with Kickstarter. Baron, Jim Marshall, he did the Action Force Declassified, which is like a book and DVD.
Which was a successful Kickstarter.
It is, yeah. We got it over the line. And I'm looking forward to that because, as I said, you get home and look through your photos and you think, oh, darn it all, I wish I got a picture of that prototype Robo Skull and, the kind of nerdy stuff that keep you an eye out.
Mark, are you referring to this tank or the one that we were at? Because we were trying to figure out whose tank this was, but also, maybe that. Which one was the A-Team one? I'm so not familiar with A-Team. The only A-Team I have is the Baracus figure. David, how are you, mate? Good to see you, buddy. But black, there's something about black and yellow. Oh, okay. The black one in SAS. Gotcha. Okay, so this could be an A-Team one. Excellent. Well, I have no idea, Mark. So if you had have said it was the other one, I would have believed you then too. So I've got no idea. But yeah, this does look cool. So the A-Team is one of those ones I really want to go and have a look at. So yeah, we're doing well, David, except for Space Commander. Space Commander has a hangover, but we're not talking about it. It was originally in red. Okay, right. Well, thanks, Mark. I'll look it up because I didn't know they had that many vehicles. Really, all I thought were they had the 4 dudes and maybe the van. But I know very little about the A-Team. But these are cool. Are these still customs? Because so this one here, I know that these are customs. They look. If I had seen these, I would have just thought they were official figures. And the same with these. Are these official?
Yeah, these ones are custom as well. Now, honestly, when I first saw these, excuse me, when I first saw these, I thought that they were prototypes from the factory that had just not made it to release.
Yeah.
Again,
that one with the bubble looks cool.
Yeah, because Palitoy had the Star Wars license at the time, I could see them using like vehicles from Star Wars and modifying them, making them a bit more Action Force. So when I first glanced at these, I was like, wow, they should have released those. And then I read the little plaque beside it, and it's like, no, these are customs. Again, Matt, Paul, and Dave Gillis, such clever guys, and it was just fascinating the results they can get.
We're learning about A-Team along the way. This is not my stuff. I wish this was my stuff, mate. This is from the 40th anniversary museum tour that Space Commander went on. And he's using the Space Commander emojis. You have to go and check it out later.
I'll watch the playback.
Mark says he had the tank and van with BA and a helicopter with Murdoch and the Corvette for face and a campsite pack with all 4 figures. I obviously am so behind on whatever the A-Team had. This is blowing my mind. I figured that they must have had a van, and I know that they had 4 figures because it's the A-Team, but now they've got all this other stuff. I was like, oh, man. All right. This has been a learning experience. So there's something about, we mentioned the Star Wars mini rigs and these custom mini rigs. There's something about mini vehicles that just really get me. Like I love the compact nature of them. Maybe that's why I like the Triple T so much, because it's little compact tank, not quite as compact as these, mind you, but yeah, there's something charming about these that I really like.
I think that they were. I know that George Lucas originally was kind of resistant to the idea of having toys based on vehicles that didn't actually appear in the films,
Right?
and then, but then Kenner kind of, I think it was Kenner, said something like, "Well, we're trying to make them
Cha-ching.
look, yeah, we're trying to make them look like your kind of vehicles. So maybe these are the vehicles that were just out of camera shot." Which I
Right?
think is
Yeah,
true
yeah.
now. But I, as a kid, they were invaluable. You know,
Right. Yeah.
the great big shuttle Tidarium was so expensive and so hard to find.
Yeah.
But then they brought out this little Imperial shuttle pod.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and even though, you know, you can only fit one figure in it, but when you're playing, that represents a great big shuttle, and you can imagine that you've got all your stormtroopers in there as well. You know,
That's right.
so I think those mini rigs, they were just great for.
Plus, they had
great
so
for us
many
kids.
characters that you barely saw on screen anyway. That it was like, you know, these could have been there and you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So move on. So, have you got a favorite of the bunch there, Space Commander?
I like the two space-looking vehicles at the back, naturally.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I saw the canoe at the front, I honestly thought that was a genuine prototype from the factory. I didn't
Looks
realize
cool.
until I read the plaque that it was a custom job.
The Action Force base is fantastic and cheaper than the Palitoy Death Star. I have a feeling we're going to get to the Action Force base somewhere along here. But I have there's something about Phil loves the canoe. There's something about that vehicle with the bubble that I just I really like that one.
It's got kind of that retro futuristic feel, doesn't it? The big glass dome.
Looks a little bit like Homer Simpson's car. You know when he, you know the one?
Yeah.
Alrighty, what are we looking at here? Is that a sneak peek of Mrs. Space Commander in the reflection?
It is, yeah. So I didn't realize till we got home and looked at the pictures that how, you know, the light was quite glaring, and you can see us, our big moon faces in the reflection.
Hello, Mrs. Space Commander. Moon faces, how appropriate.
Yep, these are some of the prototypes. These are some of the prototypes that were for figures that didn't actually go into production.
Okay.
These ones that Bob worked on before the sort of the Hasbro figures came in. And I'll speak about the guys on the lower level first. These are all sort of like the first batch of Action Force, where it was based on Action Man and Action Man. I have to adapt my accent so that people know what I'm saying. But yeah, they're based on Action Man, and
Action Man.
That's right, and that they have the sort of like historic military uniform kind of look to them. I'm not really as up on World War II stuff as I could be, to be honest. So I'm not sure exactly what the uniforms are. But the guy in the middle, slightly to the left, I'm not sure, but it looks like he's wearing one of those big woolly jumpers that the British soldiers were given to wear to keep them warm. And if that's the case, if he's a British soldier, then that sort of jumper he's wearing, or sweater, pullover, if you're elsewhere in the world, that was a completely different sculpt to anything that was released. So it would have been cool if they could have used that as one of the interchangeable parts, but it didn't go into production, unfortunately. The two guys above in bright yellow, I've heard them referred to as like the Banana Brigade and stuff like that.
Banana Man.
Yeah, I think they would have ended up in Q-Force with their blue and yellow motif. On the left, we can see the.
We'll answer this quiz question for Jim Largo.
Oh yeah,
The triple T stands for Tag Team Terminator. There you go. So there's a little bit of non Action Force related quiz, Sergeant Slaughter related, surely. We also have Blue Harvest Toys is working on an Action Force history video today. Brilliant. Oh. There he is. I knew Mark would come through. On you, Mark. He knows what's up. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. The Red Shadow Officer. This is one that Bob came up with. again, the legs that they've got kind of like that World War II kind of German officer style trouser arrangement. Does that sentence make sense? You know what I mean? But yeah, again, that was a completely different sculpt. That, you know, if it had gone into production, those legs could have been used for other characters as well. So, you know, there was scope there to expand the range. But as Bob explained in his talk, they kept getting a brief sent down to their department to come up with ideas and ways of promoting the figures, but then they wouldn't be given any production money to actually put those ideas into practice.
Yeah, that sucks. But what doesn't suck is that Bob signed his Palitoy Death Star. How cool is that?
That's fantastic.
Did you get anything signed, Space Commander?
Yep, I got my carded Space Commander. Oh, let's see, where's the camera? Bob signed him.
Nice. Yes.
And this is the one that we laughed about. My original Action Man is down on planet Earth at my folks' place.
I know where this is going.
So I just grabbed the first Action Man I came to, and it's a recent one. It's not one of Bob's. But bless his heart, he
still
signed it anyway.
Oh,
I do appreciate that. He was a good sport, you know, to sign one that isn't his. But
he told you it wasn't, right?
So, you know, he was a good sport for doing that.
But he called you out. He said it wasn't one of his.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't one of mine. But I said to him, no, that isn't one of yours, but this is.
Nice.
And he signed it. He's put his like Bob Brechin name there and a little AF logo. He's got this kind of A with an F incorporated into it. He drew that on there. So that was really cool.
Yeah, he is a great guy. He was on here. He was on here earlier. He's poorly at the moment. Couldn't stick around for too long, but he was here at the start of the show. Have a bit of a chat with us, but he's suffering from COVID, poor fella. So he ducked out early. He ducked out to watch TV. He just happened to start watching TV while we were still live.
He's so cool, isn't he?
He is so cool. I love the guy. So they didn't want to punt. They didn't want to put any more money into it, is what you were saying.
Yeah, and that's how come they started bringing over the the American figures, because they'd already been produced, basically.
Right. Yeah. It's a shame.
But right in the middle of the shot, we have these. You know, this is literally years before Thundercats, and I, you know, as a kid, and even now, I love Thundercats. And here we have a kind of dog character and a cat character, and you might think, what the heck is that to do with Action Force? Well, as Bob's department was sort of being wound down, they kind of had a feeling that it was going to be closed because they, as I said, they weren't getting any budget through anymore, had no money coming in, but they were still getting asked for, you know, they were still being briefed on develop a new story, develop more characters. And Bob kind of joked about this. He said, you know, these characters, I don't know what I was thinking. You know, I was running out of ideas, that sort of thing. And again, as I said earlier, you know, the guys who are really into the military stuff, and rightly so, you know, I'm not besmirching that, but of course they all had a bit of a chuckle because, you know, from their perspective, these kind of characters are a bit wacky and a bit far out. But for a super nerd like me, these characters are awesome. I love Thundercats. So the idea was Baron Ironblood, sick of being, you know, constantly defeated. He needs reinforcements, stronger and better. So he takes off into the cosmos, probably aboard a Roboskull, and he finds an alien planet. Now, on some of the sort of literature that was there at the exhibition, they sometimes refer to this alien planet as Canis Catis, and sometimes it's referred to as Catis Canis. So
either way sounds pretty cool. So it's like canine and cat, right?
Exactly that. So we have these two races that are at war with each other, and the Baron decides to take some of these warlike creatures and bring them back to Earth to help him conquer the planet. Now, above those two alien characters, again, I really enjoy this idea. Like I said, I know it doesn't quite fit in with the whole military idea, but the sort of fantasy element. The idea was that the Baron had a time machine, and he went into the past to find reinforcements, and he went back to ancient Greece, and he brought back 3 gigantic Cyclops figures.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing here is these look very much like He-Man toys, or Masters of the Universe, I should say, but they're
is that a big
smaller.
claw hand?
Sorry?
Is that a claw hand on one of them?
I think it's a shield. I think
shield?
they were given, they were sort of like given weapons like from ancient Greece.
Yeah, what do I know?
No, it's. I'm sorry, the picture isn't bigger.
No, I'm sure it's fine, mate. It's just my eyes.
No,
so
cool.
Blue Harvest Toys is saying that he has the factory tour in his with the exhibition at the end. That's pretty cool.
Oh, fantastic! I will check that out.
About that, yeah.
So these Cyclops characters, there were 3 of them. There's only 2 in the photo, but they were. I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. Again, tell Rebecca Kwan it's not a hate crime. Arges, Polyphemus, and Brontes were the names of these Cyclops characters. That sounds kind of ancient Greek.
Yeah. Now, that checks out.
At around the time that Action Force was coming out, of course, Masters of the Universe was in full swing at this point. But also, so were a lot of companies making sort of not quite Masters of the Universe figures.
Yeah, some of those are pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Like there's a YouTuber called Phelan Porteous. What a fantastic name! And his YouTube name is his name compacted, so Phelan Porteous becomes.
I have seen that channel. He's got a really unique voice. That guy.
Yes. My missus, bless her, she said, "Are you listening to Kermit the Frog again?" I'm like, "No, it's Bayless."
Yeah, I like it. So do you reckon they saw Triclops and He-Man and went, no, we're not having Triclops, we're having 3 Cyclops?
Yeah, they divided it up. On Bayless's channel, you can see a lot of those sort of knockoff Master of the Universe toys, like Galaxy Fighter and Galaxy Warrior. But we also had. Sorry?
I had a bunch of them, the animal head ones.
Yeah, exactly. But over here, sort of Northern Hemisphere, we had... I can't remember if... I'll get this name the wrong way around. It's either Treasures of Those Lost Temples Warriors or Temples of Those Lost... I'll start again. Treasures of Those Lost Temple Warriors or Temples of Those Lost,
Treasure Warriors. Yeah.
And they were Master of the Universe style, but smaller. Sort of I don't think they were quite 3 3/4 inch, but they were smaller and would have fitted in with these. So it's interesting because I collected those as a kid. So I think it's safe to assume that if I was collecting those characters, I probably would have collected these guys as well. So I think these were both. As much as Bob kind of laughed them off and everyone kind of joked about them, I think they would have been bankable characters if they had been released at the time. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong.
Do you think you would have collected them as Masters of the Universe were out, or do you think you would have collected them just for the sake of Action Force?
Yeah, I probably would have kept them with my Action Force.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think they're pretty cool. Look at all the historical toys Space Commander is holding and shows us. Yeah, he's got... if he doesn't own it, then at least he can show it. What are we looking at here, Spacey?
More customs.
They made custom bits? Like a broken figure?
I don't know. Maybe they're just... I don't know if they're showing those to as an example of how they are able to pop the figures apart and interchange the pieces, or maybe because they were talking about 3D printing as well. So I don't know if
they're 3D printed parts.
I'll be honest, I don't know a damn thing about 3D printing. I have enough trouble working the photocopier. So
did you get my fax?
I keep answering the phone to it, and it just screams at me. Where's the paper supposed to come out? I don't know. So, like I said, I don't know if this is an example of 3D printing. It might be, but I might be completely off the mark here. But
yeah, well, either way, these guys look appropriate. They look like Action Force figures. If they're 3D printed, then they're
yeah, I think
done very well.
the middle guy and the guy on the right, I think they are customs. They're sort of straight ahead customs that the guys have made themselves, possibly out of other toys,
Gotcha.
sort of kit bashing them. The guy on the left is the Deep Sea Defender from Q Force, which I believe is one of the figures that I sent to you for the
you did.
project.
All right, moving on. These are great though. That is a cool scene. Very cool.
So if you've got any broken toys, there's no need to throw them out. You can make a diorama out of them.
That's right. So this is number one of the what is the skull thing called again?
The Roboskull.
Roboskull. Yeah, this is number one. So we saw this one previously behind you guys, right? Or is this the second one?
That's right. No, this is the one that was behind Bob in that earlier photo.
There you go. So we're trying to count them as we go. But yeah, that looks amazing. So the unfortunate, I mean, imagination goes a long way. Yep, it does look amazing. Looks awesome. Imagination goes a long way when you're playing as a kid. And cool Dio, I agree. Trying to find files for a 3D print of Roboskull. Yeah, that would look cool. In space, no one can hear you. Dial-up modem trying to connect.
Jim, you don't know how close to the truth you are.
He logged in yesterday. We only just caught up. So the good thing about being a kid and having an imagination is that it doesn't matter about points of articulation. It literally doesn't. Never bothered me as a kid. You don't know what you're missing until you know it. You've got something else in your hands. But this guy facing away from camera does look a bit stiff, right? In the middle of battle, he does look like he's suffering quite a bit.
Yeah, I can only assume that he's walking injured.
Right, yeah, he's trying to walk it off. Walk it off, soldier.
I think he's got like a real stiff leg, a bit of shrapnel in there.
You're lucky his camouflage. They are the wrong camo for this environment too, by the way.
Yeah. Should have had some ground assault figures in there, Desert Force.
But they do look great though. So
I think the stiff-legged sort of look works really well for the Muton.
Yes, correct.
You know, sort of like Frankenstein's monster trudging towards you.
Yeah. Yeah, they are so cool. So that is end of the first slide. So we've gotten through 21 photos so far. The Muton is a fantastic figure. Yeah, I was calling it Mutton until Space Commander told me otherwise.
I have seen them for sale on eBay as Mutton. You put too many T's in there.
So we're up to now. Again, these weren't in order, unfortunately. So we're back to, that guy was shell shocked, definitely. Like, look at him. Where is he? Hang on. Look at him. He is definitely.
Yeah, he's had enough. He's like Bob earlier when he was feeling poorly. He's like, "That's it, I'm off."
Yeah, that's it. I've had enough for today. Just gonna walk off this way, gents. And the tank's pointing right at him too. So it's like, yeah, get back here.
I'm done.
So we're back to you guys. This one's a bit more of a serious black major.
Yeah. Got the tall, imposing black major standing next to some clown in a yellow hat.
He's got a whip.
He's got a whip. Yeah, that's from the comics, I think.
Okay, but did he utilize it?
No, thankfully not. No.
Yeah. So I sincerely and honestly, I am so glad that somebody else showed up in full Action Force regalia. Is that the right word? Regalia? Is that,
yeah. I was as well.
I bet. Yeah.
It was cool when I first walked in. Dave Gillis and Matt Poole were sort of by the door, and I walked in and they were like, "Oh, fantastic!" And I was looking around thinking, "What's fantastic?" And they're like, we've got someone else with the outfit on. You know, come and take some pictures with him." And you know, it was, I'm not a superstar, am I? But
you're a superstar to me, mate.
Oh, cheers, buddy. But it was just a nice little moment that they were kind of like excited to come and pose with this guy. We'll take some pictures, and so that felt kind of good.
A little bit of a closer shot. So, did she zoom in, or did she just walk closer?
Knowing Mrs. Space Commander, she probably zoomed in, whereas I would have just stepped closer.
Step forward. Was she having a good time too, or was she just dealing with it as the day went by? Yeah, I agree.
Bless you, TJC.
I agree. Mutton. Yeah, I was calling it mutton. I was literally. I sincerely said, because it was written on the. You wrote it down. I was pulling him out of a Ziploc bag, and you'd written Muton on it. I was like, "There's a guy named Mutton." But yeah, I agree. TJC, Space Commander is a legend.
Thanks,
yeah, but
TJC.
was she having fun?
I think for the first few minutes, I think she, kind of was not excited, but maybe kind of interested and fascinated to see.
Yeah.
This is what my nerdy fellow is into.
Yeah.
And then when we went upstairs above this area, above the display area, there was like this big room where Bob was set up with like a screen, and he could do like a talk to the group, and I didn't know that is what was going to happen. So we went upstairs, and Mrs. Space Commander came with me, and we all sort of filed into this room, and then it became clear, this is some kind of talk we're going to have now. At which point her eyes glazed over. so after that, we sort of broke for lunch.
Yeah.
And she and I went and had something to eat, and we talked about it. And I kind of, I think I was being, quite magnanimous and quite understanding as a partner, because I said to her, "You don't have to come in for the afternoon bit. Now that we're here and I'm set up, I'll be fine on my own. You don't have to come in for the afternoon bit." And bless her, she went and sat in the Triad Fighter and played with her phone for an hour. So I did the afternoon bit.
She had enough. Well, good on her though. Do thank her for some of the photos. Did she have to give you the talk before you went in? You know the rules, don't touch. Well, he did bring a backpack, so I wonder if they had to check it on the way out.
At least I didn't stand there licking the glass cabinets.
I don't know. We'll have a look. I take it then Mrs. Space Commander wasn't in uniform.
No, she was undercover. She was disguised as a mild-mannered reporter taking photographs.
Perfect. All right, so we got some G.I. Joe bendy figures.
That's right.
Rebranded.
Yep. So this is when, as we mentioned in the previous show, when Palitoy, when the range started to take off, Palitoy needed to sort of bolster the ranks in a hurry, and because they already had like a working relationship with Hasbro, they brought over some of the figures and changed them into new characters, like the Stalker we saw earlier. He looks like Snake Eyes, but he's not Snake Eyes. He's a different character. But towards the end of play, when they were no longer getting production budget and it looked like the department was going to be closed down, they still had this brief that new product had to be put out. And well, how can we put new product out if we don't have any budget to make it? So at that point, the decision was made to just bring over G.I. Joe figures whole cloth. Not change them in any way, apart from things like the stickers. You can do like a different livery. Some of the plastic is, it's molded in a different color to the original G.I. Joe one. But aside from that, they're just bringing these straight over and putting them straight in Action Force packets.
I'm glad that you were able to find at least some rendition of the Space Commander action figure before they all did go to G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
if you hadn't have found that German version, you probably wouldn't have seen one at all, right?
That's right. I never saw him. I never saw him on the peg until that day. And as I say, I'm pretty sure that was one of the last sell-throughs where they were getting rid of old figures. So I was very lucky that day.
Is this version of Recondo actually Australian?
Yes. International heroes.
Yeah.
So as I said, when I finally saw the G.I. Joe cartoon, I was surprised. I was kind of caught off guard by. Well, it was the G.I. Joe cartoon, but rebranded as Action Force. And
see, this is what I'm talking about, Space Commander. This is what I'm talking about. If you're going to rock epic mutton chops, the first thing that's going to pop into my mind is that there is a character called Mutton. Okay, Trevor gets it. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you. That's exactly what I thought too.
Behold
Thank you.
my muton chops.
Yes, that's what we're going to call it from now on. Muton chops.
One of the guys mentioned earlier. He said Muton Jeff. Well, that's
Yes.
that's kind of I don't know if you guys have like Cockney rhyming slang down under, but yeah, Mutton Jeff, meaning deaf. And that was actually my nickname at a place I used to work at, because my hearing's not great. You know, I'm falling apart, let's face it, and my hearing was one of the first things to go. So they kind of nicknamed me Mutton Jeff. But yeah, Muton Jeff, that works just as well.
Full force. Yes, correct.
Yes, the cartoon. Yeah, rebranded as Action Force, and as Mark points out, some of the phrases were changed.
Yep.
But the thing that was really surprising to me was that they all had American accents, and again, not that there's anything wrong with American accents, but we had all these years we had known these guys as international heroes. You know,
Right.
like you say, Recondo there was the Australian Digger. You know,
Digger.
I think. Roadblock was from the French Congo. Ripcord was from Manchester in the UK. Snowjob also from the UK. He was from Scotland.
Okay.
So to hear them all speaking with American accents was kind of jarring, you know. But if we had known that the cartoon had started out as an American cartoon, and if we had known it started out as G.I. Joe, then we could have understood why it sounded so different to the way we expected it to.
So also a change. Mike Potter knows full well as he goes by Sergeant Slammer. That was Sergeant Slaughter's alias in Action Force. Sergeant Slammer. And he had the Slammer House. Let's all go to the Slammer House. Doesn't quite sound the same. But
yeah, the poor voice actor, you can hear he's trying to get it right, but he sounds a little too up here somewhere.
Let's all head to the Slammer House. I like that Sarge. I like that Sarge. Sorry, one more thing on Mike's comment here is that I like that Sarge adds full force to his sound offs now, not just Yo-Joe. He'll give us both. Bless him.
Yeah, it's just a nice little nod. You know, to let all of us who were kids in the UK back in the 80s to let us know that he hasn't forgotten us. That's just a nice little touch. So I'm always appreciative when he does that. One of the Peppermints was telling me recently some. Again, it's not like anything malicious. It's just people hear stories about the way things went down and they get the wrong idea about them. So I was told recently that someone believed that in the UK, back in the 80s, the words ninja and slaughter were outlawed. This is wrong. It's like, what kind of image do people have of the UK? Do they think that there are policemen standing in school playgrounds waiting for a little kid to say, "I'm an ninja turtle"?
No nunchucks. You're a hero, damn it.
I'm Sergeant Slaughter. And then the copper is like, "You're nicked." Claps him in irons, drags them off. The judge says guilty. And they get chucked
outlawed.
No, that's not what the UK is about. Okay, we've got this weird reputation. It's nothing like that. It was to do with
mums.
Sorry,
it was mums.
That's right. It was like activist groups. There's a lady called Mary Whitehouse. If you Google that name, you will find all sorts, because she was like the head of one of these big activist groups, and they were putting pressure on these decisions are all made by corporations, not by policemen or judges or anything. The businesses that were being targeted didn't want the bad press. They didn't want to be shown on TV and in newspapers as being something that Mary Whitehouse and the other activists could point out and say, "This is wrong, this is bad, this is evil." They're polluting your kids' minds. So it was the corporations were making these decisions, certainly not us, and certainly not us who were little kids at the time. No one was getting arrested. Nothing like that. It's cool.
You know what?
It's actually quite a nice place to grow up.
I'm surprised Shredder wasn't called Masher in the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. It's me, Masher. It's the evil Masher.
Yeah, the voice would
that.
be different. It's like,
Yeah.
curse you, turtles! I swear, as the evil Masher, that I will catch you one day.
You know what? I really like crumpets. I really do. I love crumpets so much. We get crumpets here in a 6-pack, like 6-pack of crumpets. And I will just demolish the whole packet. They're just so good. Oh, so good.
They're good, sweet or savory.
Okay, I just throw Vegemite on them. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, Vegemite. That's like Marmite, I think.
It is, but different. But I do like Marmite too.
All right.
Best version of Mary Winehouse was on Spitting Image.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you aware of Spitting Image?
That was that the puppet thing, right?
That's
and they
right.
They use those puppets for Land of Confusion with Genesis.
Exactly that. Of course, you know Spitting Image. Yeah, you're a Genesis fan, aren't you? So yeah.
Well, that I used to watch the TV show as a kid. We had it here in Australia.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Good show. Fucking ugly people though.
No one came out of that show looking good.
No, not one. Coming soon to Red Shadows, Thatcher and White House. They did Thatcher dirty on that show. her and Prince Charles. King Charles. Sorry, Space Commander. King Charles. They did them dirty on that show. All right, check out this. We found a second one.
This is the second Robo Skull that was on display. Yes.
Is that Snake Armor a real official Red Shadows version? Because that is brilliant.
Oh, you mean this little thing here?
Oh, that little ditty. Hang on a minute. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah. Does a 5 POA guy fit in there?
Yep. There's one in there. I won't take him apart on camera because the bits will go everywhere. You know what it's like working up here in space with you've only got limited gravity. The bits will flow everywhere.
It'll float around everywhere. Yeah. Fair enough.
But this is the it's got a 5 POA Red Shadow in there. That's how it came. It came with the figure.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, it's got like the where's that tricky camera? It's got like the Red Shadows logos on it. And then when the G.I. Joe figures started to come over, they re-released this again, but now with Cobra logos instead.
Right.
And the figure
still
inside.
In red?
Sorry?
Still in red, but with Cobra logo? Okay.
Yeah, I think they were using stock that hadn't been sold.
Righto.
So it was all still red. But the figure that came with it was now a bendy figure. I believe it was the his driver.
Okay.
He's kind of red with a blue chest.
Well, what figure came with it originally?
Just a Red Shadow.
Okay.
5 POA Red Shadow.
Is that what's in there now?
That's what's in there now.
Prove it. No, just kidding. It's all right.
All right, look, I'll drag one of the legs down a little bit. There you go. So
you
can see there's a Red Shadow in there.
This is a family show.
But I'm a little worried about taking the whole thing apart. Oh, actually, hang on a minute. I've got Jim's book here, haven't I? I can have a quick look in there.
Even better. So I had this red vehicle here, and I didn't know what it was from, and you told me that it was a Action Force vehicle, Red Shadow vehicle.
Yeah, that's the Shadow track. 191. All right, yeah, this is the Hyena driver. This is the guy.
Whoop.
This is the guy who came with.
Okay. Yeah.
That escape armor. The Shadow track. This is there's a tow hook on the back of this, which is hook up to the laser exterminator.
Yeah.
And there isn't one on display, unfortunately. But that was originally a G.I. Joe item, I think. It was called the Hal Cannon, something like that.
Oh, okay, the Hal. Well, the Law. The Hal was the one with the wheels. Yeah.
But it was done in red and black, so it would match the color scheme.
That's cool.
and that's the laser exterminator is the item that came with the highly sought after red laser figure.
Hold on. Whoop.
The one like Cobra Commander.
Oh, I'm so glad that they're making one of those as a reaction figure.
Yeah, really cool.
Right? As soon as I heard that, I hope it happens, because as soon as I heard that, I thought Space Commander's going to love that. Now, if I remember rightly, says TJC, if I remember rightly, that's how Baron Ironblood left the Red Shadows to their fate of being destroyed in the comics, is by using that armor.
I think he's right. I think so.
By golly, I think he's got it.
Yeah.
So these are a selection of the Hasbro produced G.I. Joe.
That's right. Oh, and in fact, there's the armor there.
Right. That they released under the Action Force banner.
Yeah. So the first range would have come in the same kind of card as this.
Yep.
But it would have had the new character's name on it. Although, as I said, when the changeover was happening, there were sometimes mistakes were sometimes made, and you'd get like, Destro on a card that said Red Jackal or something like that, you know.
Oh yeah, thanks. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Yes, please. Every little bit helps. Thanks, guys. Yeah, these guys. So they're basically, other than the color of the snake armor there, are these just interchangeable to G.I. Joe?
Yeah, exactly. They were just straight brought over from the States.
I guess is there a Cobra symbol or Action Force Red Shadow symbol on the chameleon sled thing for Zartan? I can't really tell. You'll let me know. It looks kind of like a Cobra symbol, but with the back lines kind of look like Action Force. You'll tell me.
Just give me a moment. Hang on a minute. I've got to change the position of the book because last time I was looking for something in my lap, you all laughed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look here. 212. Come on. Oh, more.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'm going to pull up this next photo. Oh, you found it?
Yeah. Yep, that's the Cobra logo on it. All right.
Whoop. Okay.
Right there.
Are those stripes on the front Action Force stripes, or are they always there? That's a question for another time.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I suspect that those were put there by Palitoy, those stripes, because that the yellow, white, and red stripe, that is the color scheme used on the Palitoy version of the Cobra Hiss tank, which is called a hyena. That's the color scheme I'm using for my one, and also that is on the Night Attack Jeep that I showed you guys a little while ago, the one with the rockets on the back. So I suspect that's a Palitoy edition.
All right, so we're about to look at something that I imagine is on everyone's want list. How cool is that? See, now there's no reason why they couldn't produce good quality cardboard dioramas today. The last good quality cardboard diorama that I got was the Star Wars Cantina in the late 90s, which I thought was just fantastic. I've got no issue with cardboard dioramas. I think it's great. I think it's probably better for the environment. Happy to do it. If they made it, I would buy it. That door looks suspiciously like a TIE fighter wing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a few things about it that you'll find reminiscent from Star Wars. There's like a corridor with window slots cut into it, and that comes straight out of the Palitoy Death Star. And the clips that hold the whole thing together, they're from Star Wars as well.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a fantastic set. As you say, it's made of board. But it's very sturdy. As Bob always says, he used to sit on them to make sure they were sturdy enough to hold the weight of a child.
Isn't that brilliant?
Bless him, he is the size of a child. He's Bless you, Bob. But the only way you could damage this thing is if you, I think, if you genuinely wanted to break one. Right? Why would you do that? But
give it a kick.
But you could probably damage it if you really tried to. But
you could sit on it and it would hold. Yep,
exactly.
That's the story I've heard.
So I think it's certainly sturdy enough.
Yeah, I would break through.
But yeah, I think I showed you my one of this previously. The top part where the AF5 is parked in like the sort of helicopter position, that whole top bit unfolds and forms a runway, so you can actually have it come in like an airplane and land.
That's so cool.
There's a section there for the AF9. There's a diving section around the other side for the AF3. It all for the AF7. Sorry, it all fits together. It's very cleverly done. They really thought about how to make this work for the best.
Yeah. It's a little interesting. Not necessarily a negative. I'm not saying it's a negative, but it's definitely interesting that they've printed console workers in the chairs there. So the chairs aren't usable, so they've printed a few people on there. So
additional stuff.
That's right. Free figures. You can't touch them. They're doing their job. Don't interrupt. They're 9 to 5. They don't take it. If you're under attack, that's your problem. I'm doing the paperwork. It's a really good set. So is that sled underneath on the left there? I'm not really sure what that is. Is that part of the base?
No, that's one of the excuse me. That's one of the little vehicles that came out during the first year.
That is cool. Yeah, nice.
So this is the figure that originally was that one I showed you earlier with the skis, and the head was then used for the Z Force infantrymen. This is the figure that actually was released.
Trevor says, my friend got given the HQ back in the day, and I was obsessed with it. Made a great Death Star. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. Multi-purpose, isn't it? Because this would work with all sorts of action figures, not just Action Force, obviously, but obviously Action Force. But yeah, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, A-Team, all of those. This would work fantastically, and that's why I say that if anyone out there was producing flat pack cardboard play sets, I reckon they would do gangbusters. The kids still say that? Kids still say gangbusters? Well, it would.
Well, I think maybe that could be our next special project.
Yeah, but we'll move on because that is so brilliant. I could stare at that all day. So we're back at your crew. So this should have been earlier. We're just getting around to it again now. But they do look great. Probably the best color. I'm not really I like excuse me. I'm not against the camo color. I think that it's very unique to Action Force, but there's just something about the gray, white, and yellow that I really do like. My brother had the Action Force HQ. I often used it with Transformers as well. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah. The mini bots especially would look great in there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, what are we looking at here? This is new stuff.
Q-Force. So
they're very similar in color to Space Force.
Yeah, these guys are
red.
This is the Banana Brigade.
Yeah.
Bob explained that the reason they're called Q-Force is because originally they were going to be called A Force, like Aqua Force.
Okay.
But when they worked out the alphabet in the font that they decided to use for SAS Force, the Z in Z Force, the A just looked like a triangle with a stripe through it. And they thought it wasn't very, exciting looking. So he said, "Well, drop the A and go to the next letter, Q." And that's how they got the name Q Force and got that.
Aqua with the Q. Yeah.
Okay. Q, yeah. With that
makes
cool
sense.
Logo.
It does look pretty cool. But yeah, these guys are amazing. There's the human version of Mutton, aka Muton.
That's right.
Before he was mutated.
That's right. The big vehicle in the middle, the Sea Line. My younger brother has that. That's highly sought after these days. The first version came with like a Palitoy figure, but when they re-released it during the sort of Hasbro sort of coming into play, they replaced him with a bendy figure. This guy here.
Oh, hang on a second. Where is it? Whoop.
Whoop. There you go. This is the guy that came with the second release of the Sea Lion.
It was that Grunt.
Yeah, I think the G.I. Joe was called Grunt. But,
what's he called
though? Dolphin.
Dolphin.
I think it's
okay,
Dolphin.
Well, that makes sense. Dolph.
I think so.
Fin.
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. I can see they've got a G.I. Joe in the background there, a recolor of Tripwire, and the Cobra helicopter looking great in black and yellow.
Yeah, that's Blades. His name is Blades. And in the comics, they explained, because this helicopter, as you know, came over from G.I. Joe, and they initially used it for SAS Force, so it had the black and yellow. Then when the Palitoy stuff started to go awry and they brought in the Hasbro stuff, the helicopter was now coming over as a Cobra vehicle. It was for the baddies.
Yeah.
So in the comic book, they had to come up with an explanation as to how come the goodie helicopter is now the baddie helicopter, and they had the baddies. They stole. I think they stole one of their helicopters and reverse engineered it, and then they worked through sabotage. They destroyed all. This was called the Hawk when it was a SAS Force, and they destroyed all the Hawk helicopters, so that only they would have this particular model of helicopter in the air. And they sort of reverse engineered the one they captured and made more of them, and that's how you ended up with I think it's called Fang in G.I. Joe.
Fang, yeah.
So it went from being the goodies Hawk to the baddies Fang.
Well, I will tell you, it came back around to being a good guys again in Fun School, because I've got a blue and white version for Super Cop. And it's the Rescue Squad helicopter.
And which voice actor did you manage to secure for the role of Super Cop?
For Super Cop, believe it or not, I was able to secure the voice of Robert Remus, aka real American hero Sergeant Slaughter. Did a voice for me for the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship as Super Cop.
So after the show, everyone go and check that out. It's fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, to be able to have Sergeant Slaughter do a voice on a show that we do together, as another character, as Super Cop, I thought that was great.
Yeah,
I was already doing the voice of Sergeant Slaughter, so I had to let him down and say, "Sorry, mate, I already have that role. But you can come in as Super Cop," and I think he had fun with it. That was great.
Yeah, excellent. Behind the Hawk helicopter there, you can see a page from the early catalog, and that's a one-of-a-kind, one-off Space Force space station up there. It was only ever made for this presentation.
Looks a lot.
I'd love to have one of those.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. That looks pretty cool. How it's on like a top spire, and the rest of it sort of the formation down below with all those layers. Trevor says, I had that little blue sub. I thought it was Adventure People. No, mate, you had some Action Force. That artwork in the background too. Yeah, look at the Kraken. And that's what are they, aliens? Are they dead aliens, or are they dead? Because that's some huge cranium.
I think that's a Red Shadow, but yeah, he's got a very big head.
They had an ego, those two.
I see underneath there's an advert there for the annual. When we were talking to TJC in the monthly stream, and he was showing off all these fantastic British annuals.
Oh yeah, TJC has a great collection of annuals.
That's right. This is an advert for one of those Battle Action Force annuals, and the caption reads, "The Top Tough Annual."
The tough one.
Exactly. It was all very sort of gung ho, appropriately so.
Got to get tough.
Exactly, and I think these days you probably wouldn't be allowed to say the Top Tough Annual. They'd probably say
it'll be the top supportive of everybody annual.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a chance. All right, moving. Hey, look at this. Moving on. Yeah, these there's just something about the black and yellow that is just awesome. It's very striking. We're looking at the Wolverine repainted. We're looking at the Vamp repainted. We're looking at the Fang repainted. The missile launch section there. I can't remember what that was called. Missile Command, maybe. I'm not sure. But what's the boat here? Is that Action Force specifically?
Yep. That's
Right.
that's the Silent Attack, the SAS Silent Attack, and that is the little boat which, when they brought in the Hasbro figures, Recondo came with.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was a different color. I think it was like a sort of a brownish tannish color, and came with our Australian chum.
Top supportive annual. If it upsets you, we'll change his name. We're heroes. The hero annual.
Yeah.
The hero slammer annual. Yeah, these all look brilliant. And yeah, I guess what was the Black Vamp called again? The Panther?
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that could improve on this is that yellow roll bar.
Yeah, that was one of the
These
variants.
look great.
In the who's this?
In the background.
Look
at that
I was going to say,
All right.
You're throwing me now. In the Wolverine, the figure that came with the Wolverine was actually a Cobra Trooper.
Okay.
Might have been Cobra Officer, I'm not sure, but it was a Cobra. It was a bad guy, but they repainted him in SAS colors, and then to explain away why he has the mask covering his face, it said that prior to being recruited for Action Force, because of his superior sort of driving skills, he'd been known as an underworld figure who was like the world's greatest getaway driver.
Right.
And he was still wanted in some parts of the world.
Is that the Stig?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is it?
So that was. I think that was a ingenious way of explaining away why he has his face covered.
As opposed to just being in an open cockpit where you're probably going to be eating bugs.
Eating bugs, yeah.
Yeah. Easier
like
explanation.
Like Fonzie always says, don't smile when you're riding your motorbike because you get bugs in your teeth.
Yeah. Oh, Fonz. Hey, look at this guy. Speaking of the Fonz, look at this cool dude.
Oh, time to hit the diet in the new year.
I'll stop it. Well, we've reached the end of slide 2. But what a way to end that slide. You're looking good, mate. Looking good. Don't be so hard on yourself. All right, here we are. Probably the most identifiable feature of Action Force is their unique camouflage. You look at this camouflage and you know that's Action Force. Oh, we got fully clothed. Okay, that's good stuff. Fully clothed, low definition says, glad it's the original Action Force and not the knockoff Valaverse version. This is they did show a Valaverse figure earlier in this display. But welcome to the slaughterhouse, fully clothed, low definition. If you're fully clothed and low definition, what's the opposite of that? Naked and high definition. Oh, and Rolando's here. Hello, Rolando. Lewis Hamilton's tank. I don't know. I don't understand the reference.
It is a pretty fast tank. I don't know if it's Formula One fast, but it is a pretty fast tank.
Is it a Formula One driver?
Well, this is interestingly, this character is called Steeler, which is his G.I. Joe name. Usually when they were brought over, they were given a different name.
Yes.
Like on the motorbike, for example, you've got Quarrel instead of Scarlet. With Steeler, they kept the name, but made a completely different character. So he's actually from Greece. He's a Greek fellow instead of an American.
Happy New Year, Rolando. Good to see you again, buddy.
And talking of changes, the APC.
Yep.
You take that canopy off the back. The inside is totally kitted out. Whereas
it's got don't tell me. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's got a section in there that you can put a stretcher.
Yes.
How good is that?
Yeah, it's all tricked out. and I
Have you got one?
Sorry,
Have you got one?
no, it would cost an arm and a leg to get one of those. But yeah, I think that the original GI Joe version, the back was just empty. I think because
Well,
I
no,
think
they had seats along the sides of them.
right.
So the left and right side had seats, I think, with plastic seat belts. I could be wrong on the seat belts. My seat belts might not have. Oh, maybe it had a plastic bar to keep them in place.
Because
I can't really recall.
I think the idea was that it was you were supposed to like keep all your figures in it. I think so. From that point of view, it does make sense.
Yes.
However, the Z-Force version, it's just so cool. All the stuff they managed to fit into that small space, and yet have it be functional.
What's on the other side? What's on the other side of the APC, other than a tea set, which is brilliant? But what's on the other side then? Is it not the seating?
I think it had
you got a book. Show us the book.
Let's have a look in the book. Let me hold.
Okay, they had a bar. Okay, so they had a bar that pegged in for the length, and on either side.
Oh, here we go. Thanks again to Jim for making this book.
Yeah.
This one here, okay. You can see the stretcher there, and on the other side, it's got a bunch of consoles and stuff.
Oh, consoles. Okay. Oh, that's so brilliant.
And there's like seats there, pegs on the floor so you can stand your figures up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these consoles, they're basically, stickers, but it still works well.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
That's all you need. All you need is some sort of visual representation. Mike says the ABC did have one long bar for the figures. On the other side had the stretcher. Okay. And now it's so hard to find complete and it's very expensive. Plus console stickers. Well, yeah. But damn, does it look cool. But yeah, so I'm not against this camo pattern. I think it's very definitive Action Force, but there's just something about the black and yellow that is my favorite in these Action Force vehicles. Blue Harvest Toys needs that book. Missed out on it. Are they reprinting it?
I'm not sure, to be honest. He might be. Jim might be making it available again. Actually, I'll have to. I'll try and find out. And I'll let you know if I tell Zazel, he could maybe put it in a community post or something. But sure. I know that he's having a new book printed for Action Force Declassified, which is the exhibition we're talking about. And Jim also, thanks to everyone who supported Action Force Redux, his comic book. We not only got it over the line, we smashed the target, and it was all like at the last hour. Suddenly, everybody, Zazel was putting out messages to people. I was putting out messages to people. Please support this comic. We need to make it happen. And in like the last hour, 2 hours, it suddenly went from being, I think it was like only 67%. Like, no, was it? Well, it was about 50%, 50 or 60%. And then suddenly it was up to like 90. And before the timer ran out, we got it over the line by quite a margin. So thanks to everyone who supported that. But my point is, Jim is printing more stuff. So hopefully, maybe we'll get a reprint of the book. Yes. So I'll try and find out. And let you guys know.
So it's an ATC, not an APC. What's an ATC? All-terrain carrier?
I've got to look in the book again, haven't I?
The APC is amphibious personnel carrier, right? Blue Harvest Toy says, send me a message, please. Careful what you wish for.
Armored troop carrier.
Oh, of course it is. Okay, armored troop carrier. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Moving on. There's some great looking figures there. Obviously, some. It's in the bottom right of the image. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, you got better
eyes. You got better eyes than me. I can barely read the comments. But yeah, some repainted fan favorites. Obviously, we've got Quarrel. And the obviously Steeler just being kept the name Steeler, but some other cool characters here too. It's a good bunch of characters. All right, what are we looking at here?
Okay,
there's that stripe again.
Yes. Excuse me. When the Palitoy figures had started to run out, and they were just using Hasbro from that point. The Night Attack, which previously we'd seen as the SAS Panther, it was brought over but now with the Cobra equipment on the back, the rocket launchers on the back, and the different canopy over the driver.
Yep.
And there we have previously known as the Hyena in Action Force, and it was red and black. Once it became sort of more G.I. Joe centric, they brought over the HISS tank as it was in America, just black. Some people were lucky enough to get the overstock from the previous run, so a red one, but with the sticker sheet for the Cobra version, so you can get like a hybrid one.
Right. Okay.
I've got the red one, the Hyena, which I'm trying to renovate. I bought one secondhand. It was shot to bits. But I'm trying to put that together. And I also got a black one, which I'm going to do up in this color scheme here, so it matches my Jeep.
Nice.
So we'll have like the Palitoy iteration of Cobra.
So Mark says the Cobra Stinger is amazing. He's got fond memories of getting that with mum and dad. That is an awesome memory. I love moments like that. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Yeah, but these two both look amazing. ATC is the Millennium Falcon of Action Force. There you go. Yep. So we've got a cameo of a finger in the top there. Is that Mr. Space Commander's digit?
It's either that or it's a mail away thumb you can get.
Oh, mail away, right. There we are. All right, so we've got these are essentially the standard G.I. Joe action figures that we got across the pond. But apparently Australia got some of the Action Force stuff too. I just don't remember it. But I don't remember what happened yesterday. So anything could have happened. But they were all going by their G.I. Joe names by this stage, right?
Yeah, that's right. The names were the same. As I say, the Hasbro transition wasn't complete at this point, so they were still in these kind of cards with the classic logo, and switched to the more G.I. Joe logo later on. But these ones here that you can see, this was sort of right at the end of the initial run of Action Force. They were just the Hasbro characters. Oh, well, they were the Hasbro figures and the Hasbro names, but different character, different personality. So as I mentioned before, you got Ripcord Dares from Manchester in England, Snowjobs from Scotland.
You know what? I will say this. You guys couldn't have Ninja Turtles. You guys couldn't have Sergeant Saber, but apparently Snowjob's okay. Come on.
I know. Why they didn't change that, I don't know. I was so embarrassed when I was a kid.
Mum, can I have a Snowjob?
Exactly.
Scarlet was called Quarrel in Action Force, correct? And it's great that that's such a unique character that you can differentiate between Scarlet and Quarrel and not have them look at all the same. Really, did they ever bring out Scarlet in the OG colors?
Yeah, she's
Scarlet.
She's in one of the photographs actually as Scarlet.
Did we pass it already, or are we coming up to it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, I can't remember Jack.
I'm still shocked a bit from last night, mate. I don't know what's happening. I'm not sure what planet we're on.
I don't remember Stalker coming with that backpack. I'm tempted to get the new Transformers Bumblebee just so I can get another Stalker in my collection, but I haven't bit the bullet yet. I do have the Baroness with Megatron though, but that's for different reasons. But these are all good, classic G.I. Joe. It's interesting because they've mixed some years together here, because you've got the what's his name again, Grunt, and some of the first, and Stalker, some of the first waves mixed in with some later waves. So interesting how they did that. Back again.
No, I was just going to say, in one of the Battle Action Force annuals, they did a story for Snake Eyes,
right?
And it was I believe it's the version 1 Snake Eyes in G.I. Joe. So the one that we saw earlier as Stalker.
Yep.
That figure, but now it was a different character. It was Snake Eyes. But that version of Snake Eyes was never released as part of the Palitoy range. It was only released as Stalker.
Yeah.
And then, like a couple of years later, when the Hasbro version of Action Force took over completely, they then introduced Snake Eyes as a new character, but it was the second version Snake Eyes with the visor.
Yeah.
And the thinking is that they were planning on bringing out that first version of Snake Eyes with this range here, the ones that we're looking at here.
Gotcha.
And that's why there was an introductory story for him in one of the annuals. But in the end, it didn't happen.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's only a very inconsequential color variant, a slight gray to the mask. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right?
No,
you could say it is.
And we did get Snake Eyes in the end after all.
Yeah. What are we looking at here? Is this more customs or is this, because it's got to be?
Yeah, these are more customs. This is a flail tank.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to get hit by that.
No. I'll be honest with you, I'd never heard of a flail tank before seeing this, but Matt, Paul, and Dave Gillis, I think, had both done a version of it.
So was that it's supposed to really, 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 really hurt someone?
Yeah,
as opposed to
looks like it, doesn't it?
If we can have Slag the Dinobot, we can have Snowjob. Yeah, fair enough. They don't even call him Slag anymore. What do they call him now?
Slug.
What is it? Slug. Oh, get out of here.
What's that all about?
Yeah, what is that all about? Trevor, look that up for me. Tell me what that's all about. Yeah, Slug. Ugh. Flail Tank. I'm going to look up Flail Tank, actually, because it just seems like it looks really cool. Like it's having all those chains in, you can imagine spinning around just like that would mess you up.
Yeah.
But why? Why is it a thing?
I think the arms reaching forward from the tank and holding that mechanism in place, they look so cool. They look like it looks like it came like that. It doesn't look like it's been customized. It looked like it was always like that. So these guys do a fantastic job, really. I
agree. Oh, what are we looking at here? Behind the scenes. Not all the Action Force designs saw the light of day. When the idea of Action Force was first put towards in 1981, one idea was suggested. Rather than continue to follow the old G.I. Joe Action Man route of WW2, being World War II kids, the contemporary, that's what I said. Contemporary, thanks, mate. Military uniforms, a new concept should develop the futuristic Action Man special team concept as conceived by designer Greg Hughes. Other more fantastical ideas were suggested of science fiction nature, but marketing wanted the continuity of the Action Man brand. One spectacular piece of work was turning the G.I. Joe Big Trapper, used in the Action Man range as a multi-terrain vehicle? Okay. Into a mobile command center for Action Force. More Action Force teams had been developed than the 4 that were sold in 1983. The Special Weapons team was one. After the initial success of the revived concept, many other ideas were proposed for the following year's range. One was a covert. What's that? Where do the nuns go? Covert surveillance and attack vehicles for the SAS. Another proposal was a second female character, a space pilot. Oh, that's cool. For the troop transporter. Both were rejected. That's unfortunate. Before the closure of the design department, some much more radical thinking occurred. Oh, got to be careful of those radical thinkers. A proposal that the Baron explores the galaxy to find recruits in his endeavors to subjugate the world. Kobel and Koshka were, if I said that correctly, they sound like current day rappers, were natural enemies coexisting in the planet Catus Canis.
Yeah.
Googling stag. Don't do that. First of all, don't Google slag, but it was slug. Stag is do that. Maybe you might have trouble doing both, actually. Safety mode. Put on safe mode. So all of that is telling us that they had some cool ideas, but a lot of it was rejected. I apologize for my inability to read at above year 5 grade level. Here's a different angle of that. What are these again? The prototypes?
Yeah, these are prototypes. So
Yeah,
that's
Desert Rat is definitely having a blast there. He's the only one there going, "Come on, guys, it's time to party." If you've got to wear shorts though, then you know how to party.
he's always up for a party, isn't he?
That's right.
But yeah, you can see that the snow guy that they actually did release is quite
Yeah,
different from the prototype.
I'm glad that they still used the head for some other purpose though.
Yeah. You know, you could argue it's like the most important head in all of Palitoy and Action Force, because that was the one that was, you know, that was the army builder that you could get loads of. The SAS one was really hard to find, but the Z Force army builder, we got loads of them, and a lot of collectors have loads of them. So they were obviously plentiful.
Well, that was everything. That's all our slides.
Hey,
Well, but if you want to see a video, go check out Blue Harvest Toys. He's got a video on his channel that you can check out for the tour. The what do you call it?
the factory tour.
Factory tour. Yeah. He's got a video of the factory tour, so definitely go and check that out. Want to get the first 12. Deep sea diver is so cool. I think there's a lot of underwater characters that I think are really cool, and I think there's a otherworldly sort of when you're playing with an underwater action figure. If you're in the bathtub, that's cool, but if you're out of it, it's sort of like otherworldly. You know what I mean? Like you're playing underwater, but what's the difference between pretending to swim and pretending to fly? It's like your imagination goes to a whole different place. Blue Harvest Toys, you're welcome, mate. Well, I definitely want to go check it out. Great episode, guys. Really enjoyed it. Top job. Thanks, Mark. I hope you're feeling better, man. I want to get together soon and talk about very soon. I want to talk about the G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter with my good friend Mark Potter, because he's the guy to do it with. He is as big a fan of Sarge as I am, and one of my very, very good friends. So as soon as you're up to it, Mark, I'd love to do it. I don't want to do it without you.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Mark.
Yeah, have a good one, my friend.
Hope you feel better soon, mate.
I will find Blue Harvest's video, and I'll put it in the thing here. It was really good to have Bob pop on, if only for a moment. He wasn't feeling well, like I said, he's got COVID, but it was really nice for him to jump in. I didn't expect it, but it was nice of him to do it. I hope he is feeling better. Blue Harvest Toys. Where are we, Blue Harvest Toys? Where is it? I can't see it. I'm on your channel. How far back was it?
It started at the end of November, so it would have been either late November or early to mid-December, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking it's too recent. Where is it? Oh, I found it.
Hey, I had faith in you, mate.
I'm glad one of us did. A copy here. Copy link. I'm going to throw it in here. It's on the main page. Yeah, I found it. I'm sorry, mate. I believe I got that right. That should be the video for Blue Harvest Toys. Go over there and check out his channel. I am subscribed, and I suggest everyone here go and subscribe too, because it's a good channel. I don't know how I missed this one. December. I gotta be sorry. I'm sorry. I've not been able to catch up on so many. I work as a retail manager, so November and December are pretty much write-offs for me. It's just too busy working that time of year, but I will definitely go and check that out. It'd be a good companion to this conversation that we just had, Space Commander, to go check out this 1 hour 40 minutes, 1 hour 40-minute tour. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good stuff. Cracking stream. Happy New Year, fella. Happy New Year to you too, man. Hair of the dog time. Well, you're not alone. I do too many videos. Well, I mean, I've saw a lot of your Christmas countdown ones. I thought they were great, but I don't know how I missed the Palitoy one. But I'll definitely check it out. Especially sitting here looking at all these photos. The only thing missing was a tour. For some reason, bloody Space Commander didn't go on the tour.
It's because on the first weekend they didn't do the tour.
Okay, well, we've got Blue Harvest Toys coming to our rescue. We'll definitely go check that out after the stream. I'll add it to the link as well, Blue Harvest Toys, so that we can get people over there to check that out too. TJC, great stream, guys. Happy New Year to you both. We'll look forward to the next one. TJC, next weekend is the first month's members stream. And because you are a member, if anyone wants to be a part of that, do consider becoming a member. If you become a member, you get to be a part of the live streams. We actually are having a special guest on for the next members stream. So we're going to have a lot of fun and games on that one. So if you want to be a part of that, please do today. Join us because next weekend is going to be a blast. Pains, it's good to see you too, my friend. Happy New Year to you. It's been what a year it was. And this Space Commander was a great way to start the new year. I couldn't think of a better way to start the new year than with my very good friend Space Commander.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. Although I must admit, when I first woke up, I thought this is a terrible idea.
Well,
why are we doing this the morning after the heavy drinkingest night of the year? Well, once I got here,
I don't know, man. But you've hidden it well. I think wearing a cap very far down also disguises the fact that you're probably incredibly hungover. I didn't actually drink over New Year's. I think I was in bed shortly after midnight, and it's only just hit after midnight here now. But yeah, I seem to have linked for Space Commander. You are exactly where you can find Space Commander. Space Commander is part of the Slaughterhouse. I call it the Slammer House when I have Mark Potter and Space Commander here. Space Commander is he takes up residence here at the Slaughterhouse above in the stratosphere and the atmosphere. What do we call it? The outer space. He's up there and he beams down to us. Yeah, right here. He is a part. He is not just a guest. He is a part of a very valuable part of the Slammer House, aka the Slaughterhouse. He is a member here. Oh, you'll become a member. Oh, cheers, buddy. I appreciate that. If you do become a member, then you'll be given a link in the members chat section where you will be able to jump on with us. Like I said, next weekend is going to be full of fun and surprises, so you don't want to miss out. I can't say too much now, but it's going to be very fun. So do consider doing that for next weekend. And it's like I said, it's gonna be great fun. Plus you get all the emojis. So I've just added the Space Commander emoji to be used. I thought that is an ideal. That's all right, mate. No rush. Absolutely no rush. No pressure to do it at all. But I appreciate it. I'll be there as long as Hans doesn't keep me on PlayStation all night again. Hans is another absolute legend and a member. He's. I did hear that you were pulling an all-nighter, TJC. I heard about that. What PlayStation games were you playing though? Because Space Commander is only on Commodore 64. So
I was going to say, there's this new game just come out. It's called E.T.
Did you dig that one up?
It had a kind of a layer of grit on it. But...
yeah. Spacey. So when you see spacey, that means they're spamming the Space Commander emoji. So yeah, I thought, you know what, Space Commander is a part of the Slaughterhouse. He should have his own emoji, and I did it.
Thanks.
That's all good. So yeah, thanks for sharing all those photos with us, man. I thought that was great. If only I could be there. I will do the same thing for you when I go to Joe Fest this year.
Come on.
I get that reference. Elden Ring. I get that reference. So I'll be going to Joe Fest this June, and what I'll do is I'll do a lot of content there, so you guys can check that out as well. I'm actually having a stopover in Canada, and so I've been asked to maybe extend my stay in Canada. Yes, Joe Fest. Yes. I'll be heading to Joe Fest to get a Cobra Clutch from Sergeant Slaughter, hang out with Kelly's Slaughter daughter Remus. She is going to put me through the ringer. I'm trying to get healthy, and by trying to get healthy, I mean I've done absolutely nothing. But that'll be my New Year's resolution: is to get fit before I get absolutely smashed with the Sorted Daughter training regime. I'm gonna be knocked for 6, I reckon. That's a cricket term for all you Yanks. Yeah, so that's coming up. This year is going to be. What do you got coming up this year, Spaceman? I know we're going to be doing a lot more of incoming transmissions. I think they're too few and far between. I want to get back onto a semi-regular schedule for incoming transmissions. What else we got going on? Hey, we got a new member. Thanks for joining, buddy. I appreciate it. You've got full use of those emojis now, Blue Harvest, and you'll be in to play some cool games with us next weekend. It's going to be so much fun.
Cool. I'm looking forward to more episodes of Welcome to the Slammer House.
Yeah.
As much as it is fun to hang out and chat with all our friends from all around the world, Mark Potter, my fellow Englishman, he's such a great guy, and when he's feeling up to it, it'd be nice to get him back on stream and have more of a chat with him. And Adam from GoFigure, I promised him I'd come over some customs with him, so maybe we can get him at some point.
All right. Well, yeah. Adam is another great channel to go check out at GoFigure. Blue Harvest Toys, sincerely thank you for becoming our newest member, utilizing those new Space Commander emojis. Sincerely, you're playing Elden Ring. Okay, I was going to say I don't really know if I should Google that because you might. I thought it was Elder. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting about, because I'm not being in Australia. Let me tell you, you don't get anything first, right? So I don't try to be a news channel because I'm never going to have all the information first. I don't do reviews quite like other people do because everybody already has the toys for a month or more before I get them. So instead, Mark and I are going to get together and just absolutely gush over this action figure. We won't talk about every point of articulation, but Mark has got an absolutely amazing Twitter account, and he's also got the I hate social media. What is it called? The other one, Instagram. And he does some amazing photos and customs as well. And we're going to go and use some of his photos for the video. It's just so good. And we're gonna talk about in the new year. We'll talk about this very awesome action figure. And if I can twist Sarge's arm, maybe he'll join us.
Yeah,
we'll see. But thanks everyone for joining us. This has been fun. I feel bad for your hangover, Space Commander.
So I'm soldering through it. It's thanks to everyone who's supported. Supported Zazel most of all, but also me. I've been joining him for about a year now, I guess, and it just kind of fell together. It's not something I ever planned on doing. Oh, I'll go on YouTube and talk to people. That was not on my agenda at all. but look at this smiling face. How can you say no to this man? So when he asked me to come on, I put my hat on and jumped in with both feet. So thank you to everyone for supporting us and making us feel welcome. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. So we don't ordinarily...
And for not blaming us over the whole Action Force G.I. Joe thing.
Right. So, yeah, look, we don't ordinarily stream. So it's pretty late here, but it's not really that late. So it's only just hit 12:30 a.m., which isn't too late for me. Ordinarily, we do our streams more closer to the United States time zone. So it's a little bit, for us, for me and Space Commander, it can oftentimes be a little bit of an early start or a late evening. Depending on which one of us is having to get up or stay up, basically. So we want to, in the new year, we want to do a little bit more of these mixes of time zones so that everybody gets a good chance to watch us and we don't feel burnt out. Because there was a while there where the time zones were so bad before they got daylight savings now, so it's a little bit better now. But the time zones were so bad that I was literally working a full week, and then on Saturday, instead of recuperating, I'll be waking up early to go and do a live stream, which is still, it's still fun. But sometimes you've just got to look out for yourself and go, you know what? No, I need to have a break. I need to have a rest. I need to recoup. December write-off for sure. Working in retail management, definite write-off. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe we can mix it up a little. If we're going to do a couple of live streams every week or month or fortnight or whatever we're going to do, we'll figure it out. Well, then we can change the time zones a little, play around with it, and give some other people on the other side of the world a chance to watch it live. If you're ever in the area, Space Commander, would happily buy you a pint or a water if you prefer. I think you'd prefer the water right now. And if you don't mind, TJC, I'll put my hand up. And if I'm ever in the area, I'd love to have a pint with you guys. Always good to take a break. It is. Yeah. So I don't do this because I have to do it. I do it because I want to do it. And I only do it when it's fun. And this has been fun. But yeah, I'm going to stop. This is what I was going to say. I'm going to stop over after Joe Fest and potentially extend my stay in Canada and hang out with Adam from GoFigure for a little bit. But then I thought, while I'm already flying, I wonder how hard it would be to get a connecting flight over to the UK and just stop by and say hi.
I think it's about 8 hours across the Atlantic. So, I mean, I'm doable,
already making the trip. Yeah,
it's doable, but you're going to be foobar.
Well, I've got to show you a picture of my passport photo. It is so bad. Oh my God, it's so bad. I feel like I wouldn't let me in the country, but yeah, it's pretty bad. It is a terrible photo. I will never put it up on social media. That's how bad it is. Come to Star Wars Celebration.
Do you draw the beard on with a pen?
At the time, my beard was so long because I've trimmed it back a little. Actually, I just recently had it trimmed back, but before it was so long that it doesn't fit the photo. It's extending. It extends out of the photo, and it just looks so bad. I'm like, oh, I should have had a haircut and a beard trim first. When is Star Wars Celebration? Because that would be awesome. Let me know the date on that. But I figure, so the first time I'm ever going overseas is to go to America, Canada and America. This is my first trip. I've never been anywhere. So now that I've got the bug, I'll go and hang. It's in April. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Now that I've got the travel bug, I'll go and go to England and do a round trip to Space Commander, TJC, and Mark Potter, and we'll see if we can't get Space Commander another hangover.
We'll have to see where the space station is in orbit, because I'll need to come down to England, down to Earth to meet you.
Well, if you just pick me up, that'll make it a lot easier.
Yeah, that would be a bit more expensive, but
Blue Harvest, you have a spare room. Thanks, buddy. That's very kind. Too kind, but I appreciate it. Easter weekend. Okay. I'll see if I can get away with it. I've got a feeling I can't. Not April this year. There's no way. But I'll think about maybe next year. I can't believe we're already saying next year, and it literally is like 2024 will be next year. Crazy. Yeah. Oh man, is there anything else we want to go over before we say goodbye? I'm happy to hang for a bit if you want to chill.
Just thanks to everyone again. Thanks to Bob for jumping in briefly.
Yes.
Hope he feels better soon. And thanks, of course, to Sergeant Slaughter for, he inspired the whole channel.
True. We couldn't do it without. Oh, you have a table at Celebration? That's brilliant. A lot of things that have happened for this channel happened last year. Had Sergeant Slaughter on the channel as a guest. Kelly's slaughtered daughter Remus was able to make some of that happen, and I'll be forever grateful for that. We've become good friends, me and Kelly, and so to an extent, I'll actually be staying with Kelly while she puts me through all this torture. And if you want to see a grown man cry, and I'm not an emotional man, but I have a feeling that's going to happen. So you have a table at Celebration. What will the table be? Is that like a vendor's table where you sell stuff?
No, that's where you're sleeping.
I'll sleep under the table. That's fine. And then I'll sit up. I'll sell some stuff for you. Yeah. They might be able to haggle me though. I'm too kind to sell. They'll be like, "Oh, I don't really have enough." No, what do you got? Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah, that's cool though. Celebration would be cool. They got less and less. So that's the problem with time, is that we lose so many great Star Wars actors that we've lost quite a few now. Kenny Baker, obviously, Carrie Fisher, what's his name? Chewbacca. I know this. Peter Mayhew. Yep. Darth Vader. He's gone now, right?
David Prowse. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, waiting for confirmation. You applied for the stage and a fan table. Oh, cool. Yeah, that would be another one to go. Have you ever been to the Star Wars Celebration, Space Commander?
Many years ago, I went to one in London. I can't actually remember if it was the official celebration or if it was just a really big Star Wars themed convention. I can't remember, but I got there was like a passport. They'd done like a passport with like different planets' names on it. And as you go from one event to the next or go from one exhibit to the next, you get your passport stamp. That was quite cool. Yeah, that was a great day out. I went with my friend and his kids, and it was fantastic. And then Disney came along and ruined it.
Ruined. 2016 was the last one in London. Oh, okay. So where is it? Where is it in April? Is it in London again? Is it the same destination for this April coming? I just always assumed it was in London. So that shows how much I know. Met Kerry in 2016. No, she came to Australia for a convention called Supernova here. I got to meet a lot of cool characters. I got to meet a lot of cool people at Supernova. Just recently, I met the actor who played Flash Gordon.
Sam Jones.
Yes, Sam Jones. Yes. I got to meet, Flash. Whoop. Yeah. Not that version of Flash Gordon.
Isn't Mrs. Space Commander good to me?
I'll say. She's too kind to you. All you do is drink a lot and have a hangover the next day. What is the alcohol consumption like in zero gravity?
The consumption isn't the problem. It's when the body then rejects the alcohol.
Oh, that's cool.
0G vom.
Oof. If their bar isn't dressed up like the cantina, then don't have it. I'd be at the bar. So would Space Commander, apparently. What were you drinking out of curiosity?
Just lager. But of course, I didn't realize this until fairly recently. But apparently, just a regular like lager that you would have over here, is a lot stronger than it would be in America or Canada, for example.
I'm going to show off those Americans then when I get there and start drinking.
You'll be fine. You'll be good.
Yep, fair enough. I can't blame you. So I had gin a moment ago. Been getting onto that recently. Not very often. I don't drink very often. But yeah, man, if I go over there and I can drink their beer without problems, imagine I'll look like such a hero for the first time. But then I'll get cocky and just take it too far.
That's always the risk.
Oh, that'll be the stuff that gets on social media too. So what time is it over there now, Space Commander?
It's just coming up to 20 to 3 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Oh, yes.
23 on a Sunday is usually when I would be getting out of bed.
Well, I appreciate you struggling to float out of bed so that you can hang out here with us. I appreciate it, buddy. This is good fun. What's going to be our next incoming transmission then? We do have some more action figures to go through, but I'm actually starting to think we should start unveiling some of our plans for this year. Maybe 7:39 a.m. Good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Wait a minute, there's an AM on a Sunday?
I've never seen it, but time for breakfast. What is for breakfast, Rolando? Rolando is one of those names that you see pop up everywhere, and It's always great to see you. You have a Toy Fair premiere at 4 if you want to stop by. So how long is that from now? Just for curiosity's sake. An hour?
Is Blue Harvest on UK time?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were overseas, mate.
Well, it is if you're in space.
I'm overseas from you. Oh, actually, yeah, you're in Australia. I mentioned the hangover.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be about an hour and 20 minutes.
It is? Okay. Jeremy Bullock is sadly no longer with us, and depending on which version of Darth Vader, because they weren't inviting him over for a while or at all, were they? The actor in the suit. Why am I forgetting his name? Every time I go live, I forget the most
David
basic
Prowse.
thing. Yeah, I can't remember David Prowse's name. What's his name?
I think. Oh, what was it? Is it Dave?
Yeah.
Oh.
David Prowse something.
This hangover is catching.
Yeah. So if it's in, so you're saying, is it 4 o'clock in about an hour and 20 minutes? Is that right?
Hour and 20 minutes, yeah.
All right, I'll stay up for that. I'll stay up for that, Blue Harvest. And I'll check that out. Sounds good. I'll make a coffee. I'll stop drinking the gin. No, I'll wait up. I'll wait up for an hour. But I'll definitely go check it out. So I wonder, everyone, that's the link again for the tour, but you'll be able to catch his premiere at 4 o'clock UK time. You have a David Prowse owned figure. So he owned the figure and you have it in your collection. That's pretty cool. Is it of Darth Vader? Because that makes sense. So when you watch, have you seen those clips where you can hear David Prowse's voice as Vader?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you honestly tell me that he had no idea that he wasn't going to be the voice, because if that was his acting, like, you know, sorry, don't want to speak ill of the departed, but that wasn't a great Darth Vader.
No,
Great presence
yeah.
as Darth Vader, but the voice doesn't match.
I think apparently when they shot the first corridor scene, he wanted to really storm through, you know, like an unstoppable force, and he moved through so quickly the cameraman didn't realize and didn't keep up with him, so they had to reshoot it apparently. But I think the thing is with David Prowse, he's got such a strong, it's a West Country accent. It's interesting. There was a comedian, Michael McIntyre, who used to do his routine about Darth Farmer, yeah. Where David Prowse is from is directly opposite where I am from, and yet the local accents are very, very similar. You know, when me and TJ Seagate go, and you'll hear it. But
yeah.
But so you know, the kind of farmer accent is not going to work with a character like Darth Vader. However, you have to remember that from Dave Prowse's point of view, that voice sounds normal to him, so he probably didn't see any reason why it wouldn't be used. He
was another TV character though, wasn't he? Like some sort of safety thing?
Yeah, the Green Cross Code man.
Right, yeah. See, that I can see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I say Darth Farmer. Combine Harvester.
He made a good superhero. He actually helped Christopher Reeve train and get in shape for Superman.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah.
So he was a part of the superhero sort of. I've lost the word now. Sorry, there's too much alcohol.
Yeah.
Fraternity.
He did have okay. Well, he had a good physique. I will give him that.
And Dave Prowse, I think the first Green Cross Code man he did, they did overdub his voice for that, but then for like the second and third one, they let him use his own voice.
Warning. Sorry, that's my second warning. I apologize. Sorry, mate. That's my second warning. I'll take it. He went for the role of Superman. Didn't Freddy Krueger go for the role of Luke Skywalker?
Robert Englund?
Yeah.
Oh wait, because I only really know Robert Englund because of he's friends with Mark. I don't really watch like horror films and that, but he was friends with Mark Hamill, so maybe they both went for it together.
I couldn't see it. I can see him as Freddy. I couldn't see Mark Hamill as Freddy though. Dave Prowse was who I met in 2015. Yeah, that's so cool. Because I know he wasn't invited to a lot of the Star Wars stuff because they thought that he was leaking information. I don't know why I paused between leaking and information, but Christopher Githens, good morning. Good morning to you, good sir. It is now 12:45 a.m. here in Australia and almost 3 p.m. in the UK. At 4 p.m., we'll be going over to Blue Harvest Toys and checking out his premiere. So good morning to you. Thanks for dropping by. We had Bob Brechin earlier in the show. Jeremy Bullock asked you for a photo. That's so cool. Boba Fett.
Such a sweet guy, Jeremy Bullock. I met him a couple of times. Yeah, he was Boba Fett. Where? It's interesting. I saw him. There was a play late on TV one night. It was a play that was filmed back in the 70s with Jeremy Bullock in it, and he was playing. Shall we say, a very flamboyant theatrical gentleman, and he had this, kind of over the top physicality to his performance, very different from Boba Fett, but it gave me such an appreciation for his performance as Boba Fett, because you can kind of see how he, in the two roles, the two very, very different roles. He's being very considerate of his physical actions, and it really made me feel like, that he was holding it all in for Boba Fett to make him mysterious and like
the
bounty hunter kind of character.
Yeah. Apparently, he said, "Put Captain Cargo in the solo hold." So, who did the voice for Boba Fett then?
I forget his name. I want to say Wingreen or something like that. There was a chap, I think he was in America, did the original voice.
Right. And then they changed it. Ruined. Yeah, I can't go for that. I can't go for the Stormtrooper name change either. Not name change, the voice change. I think that there's definitely room for different accents in Star Wars. Absolutely. Yes, brilliant. But retroactively changing one of the coolest sounding voices in Star Wars, it's so jarring. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's doing a bad job, and it might just be because I'm so used to it. Like it wouldn't matter to anyone that's outside of that time.
Yeah, anyone else who hadn't seen it wouldn't notice the difference.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
But to us who grew up with the originals, it does kind of take you out of the film a bit.
There we are. Jason Wingren.
Oh,
I knew you'd know.
I was close with the name.
Blue Harvest Toys, what is your name? Just so I know. If you don't mind me asking, if it's too personal, don't. It's fine. Too bad if this was it. Oh, you're Mark too? No, imagine if it is. Yeah, but I don't mind the accent. It's just I don't think it's not my Boba Fett. Who did the Mark? Hello, Mark. Hello, Mark.
Mark Boland.
Did you hear that Disney is going to bring Star Wars films back to movie theaters again? That sounds like a whole lot of what does Greedo say?
McClunky.
That sounds like a whole bunch of McClunky to me. I might go check it out. I saw the special edition at the theater, and I thought it was cool. At the time, I thought it was cool to go and watch something in the theater with something that was going to be new added to it. So it had that added value to it. I thought Han should have shot first. I don't know why you'd wait for someone to fire at you, because all is fair in a duel, right? If a gun's on you, you don't have to wait for them to fire to defend yourself. It's already on you. But it is what it is. It's already. I mean, how many years have passed now since the release of that version to the version to that point?
20, almost 26 years. Yeah, I think it'll be 26 years this year, I think.
So have we had it longer than the original version then? Well, we've got to be close. So we have that. So that's been the version of it for longer than the original version was. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I need to get over it then. In the 90s, they showed Star Wars in the theaters. Yeah, and I went to go see that. I was probably the biggest Star Wars fan that I knew. My entire collection was basically Star Wars toys and comics and books. I went over those novels, Tales from the Cantina, because the Cantina was my favorite scene in Star Wars. I was just like, I read that book so many times and loved it. But I didn't have an issue with them adding stuff in. I was like, this is cool. Okay, it's a new version. I just didn't realize that that was going to be a trend to continue to change them and ignore what came before. Yeah. I thought it was fake when I saw a clip of it on YouTube. I was like, that can't be true. And you know what it did? It got people to go back and watch it, didn't it? It got the views.
Curse you, Disney!
Imagine not knowing that was going to come up, and then just sitting there watching it, thinking you know what's going to happen, and then Greedo just says McClunky. It's like, what? Did they explain it? Did they explain that? Tell me.
Oh, I heard that it was supposed to be some kind of insult or death threat or something, which made Han feel like he had to be quick on the trigger. They should have just left it hand sheets first.
McClunky. Yeah, okay. I don't mind the special editions of Star Wars and Empire, but Jedi should be put back as is. Adding Hayden Christensen was an interesting choice. The thing that bugs me about Jedi is the removal of what do they call it? Yub Yub?
Yeah.
Yub Yub. Yeah, that was a brilliant song. I don't know why they took that out. Love that. That was a banger.
Oh, and the one of the songs that the band plays in Jabba's Palace. One of the songs they did like 2 or 3 songs, and one of them was really cool, and that's the one they cut out. What are you doing?
Yeah, and they had that whole CGI affair. Yeah, that was a bit rough. Oof, that hurts. Yub Nub, yeah, see, brilliant. What a great song. Put that back.
But I'd still
make a change. Put that back.
I'd still take all the CGI size noodles and all that stuff. I'd still take that any day over anything that Disney has produced.
I like The Mandalorian. Have you watched The Mandalorian? Have you watched The Mandalorian Space Commander? Have you seen it?
I saw a piece of it.
You sure it's which piece? I get that reference. That's great. I liked it. Whatever. That was a great line. I agree with you guys. George Lucas was overdoing changes on his original 3 films. Yeah, I could handle the first changes, and then after that, it was just like, how many more? I got what you meant, mate. Scruffy-looking nerf herders always shoot first. That's right. Yeah. Nobody calls me. Oh, what is it? Who's scruffy-looking? It was that scene from Family Guy. It was like, you can't call us that. That's our word. All right. Well, guys, we'll call it quits there. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in. We did have Bob Brechin at the beginning. If you want to go back and check that out, he's feeling poorly. Unfortunately, caught COVID over Christmas and New Year's. Poor fella. But he seemed in pretty high spirits because he started watching TV partway through it.
It's so cool. I'm a real badass.
We're going to start with New Year's. So the first time we had him on, he had that absolute banger line where it's like that it's weird talking to grown men about toys. I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And this time he starts watching TV. Oh, man. All right, I'll check that out. Yeah, cool. All right, I'll check that out. Thanks. It is a cracking song. It's bloody good. All right, we'll call it quits there. But yeah, thanks to everyone who joined in. Don't forget to jump over to new channel member, Blue Harvest Toys channel in about an hour for a premiere. What is the premiere on? What's the subject? We'll figure it out. It's a surprise. We'll figure it out.
Oh, it's going to be. Was it to do with the tour?
No.
Oh,
That's
no, wait, he's already got the tour up, hasn't he?
Yeah. You can go
Yeah,
and watch the tour. Cheers. You're welcome. You're welcome as well, Jim Largo. Thanks for getting up and watching that.
You're welcome, mate.
80s
Glad
puppets
to
look
do
way
it.
better than 90s CGI. Any puppet looks better than CGI, in my opinion. Except if you've been on any stream with Rolf, Ken's Rolf. That's a nightmare. All right, with that, thank you, Space Commander. Always good to see you. And you're dismissed. But let's go out with my very favorite tune. What do you reckon? One more time, Space Commander?
One more time.
One more time.
Space Commander. Space Commander. Space Commander. Space Commander. Space Commander. Space Commander. Space Commander, Space Commander, Space Commander.